All right, welcome back to episode 130 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. It is very late on Sunday night. Is a gong show a good term to describe your weekend, Troy?
It was a very long weekend. Youth hockey tournament, an hour and I don't know, 50 minutes away in a city called Rochester. For you, those of you familiar with Minnesota, it's where the Mayo Clinic is. We had a bunch of games. We lost them all. We were competitive in three of them. And then today's game at, I don't know what it was, 9:15, 9:30 in the morning did not go very well. But we learned a
Oh no.
lot. We're growing. We're a small little scrappy team, so we'll see how we do.
Yeah, so when your games are in when we live in our town and then you play in Rochester, it's kind of like that perfect distance where it's not far enough to stay in a hotel,
Yep.
but it really sucks to drive an hour and 15 minutes one way back and forth to your
Yeah,
games. So
especially when you get that time between games of like 3.5, 4 hours. It's like you can't really drive home because then you'll sit there for 30, 40 minutes and then you have to go back. So you have to find some stuff to do. We did. We walked around, went to Shields, ate, all that fun stuff.
mhm. Well, you're here. We're
I'm here.
recording in the wee hours of the night. So anyone that
Yeah.
likes to listen right away when these come out at what is it, like 3 a.m. Central Time, you literally might be listening to it about 12 minutes after we stop recording. So
Yeah,
if
it's gonna be right after editing, boom, go, and it should be out there. The video might be a little late, but we'll see.
and if we fall asleep at the end of the episode, just we're old and we don't stay up late.
I
So
would
we're gonna do our
yeah,
best.
I'll just say if we recorded earlier, like our original plan, I probably would have fell asleep. I was a mess. It was just
Really.
I was wiped out and couldn't do anything and had to run around. Get my son needed new goalie skates. He was basically curling his toes in his old one.
Oh,
We ordered them. They finally came in, went and got them. They had to bake them. It was another whole long process. Goalie skates take a little longer to bake and all that fun stuff.
well, we're here and
We're
we're
here.
doing it. So we're gonna have a lot of fun, a lot of great info planned. So we're gonna get right into it. Before we do, though, just a reminder: the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means we rely on support from listeners and watchers like yourself to really help keep our show going, help us to cover our expenses. Yes, this train wreck of a show, dumpster fire, whatever you want to call it, does actually have expenses, and produce more and hopefully better hockey card content and help initiatives to grow the hobby even in a small way. Right now, you can join our $199 support level tier. That's via Patreon. You get access to the Hockey Cards Gong Show Discord server, all the kind of fun stuff we do there. It's really an awesome community
Yeah.
that of friends, I guess, what I would say
Yep.
at this point, and very, very much appreciate the people that are part of that community. It's very easy to support us. All you got to do, well, there's a number of ways. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link in the top right hand of the page. Or if you want to skip that and just go to the Patreon website directly, it's patreon.com. And then if you search for Hockey Cards Gong Show, you'll find us there. There's a link in the show description if you're listening to us on a podcast app, or if you're watching us on YouTube, there's a link in the description there. And then finally, there's a link in our social media accounts like our Instagram and TikTok. Within our profile, there's a link tree that you can link to our Patreon there. We do have one new patron, Rooster Cards and Wax, who joined our
Nice.
on a 199 support level tier since would have been Thursday's show. So very, very thank you very, very much. And already in Discord, so it's great to see you there. And yeah, I think we're ready for the game plan, Troy. Let's do this thing.
All right. On today's show, we begin with the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 30. Then it's off to Who's Hot and the Struggle Bus. Next, we look at hobby news, followed by a look at if we think there will be a crash in hockey wax prices. Josh did a ton of research, and it's a very interesting segment, so I hope everyone enjoys that one. Then we look at new product releases. We end the show with our Gong Show mailbag. I think I'm giving it a title, Gong Show mailbag, very original,
Yeah.
and personal pickups.
Big
All
one
right.
for me. That was
Yeah.
late breaking. I almost had nothing. And then a couple hours ago, one of the biggest trades I've ever done. So I'm excited to talk about that.
And to just show how out of it I was, Josh sent me a text, and I thought he was asking me some random question of something I would never know. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he like sent another text, and I reread his original. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. I am out of it. So, yeah, very cool pickup. that you got. Okay, Josh, just a brief primer again. We ran through the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL players to wear each number article list on our previous episodes. We are now looking at the runners-up, and the player we go over has the title of almost greatest NHL player to wear the number that corresponds with our episode number. We are on episode 130, so I'll be looking at the almost greatest player to wear number 30. I'm using the same article as before, which is the greatest NHL player to wear each number article by the Hockey Writers, but now I will be picking a player from the runners-up list. All right, Josh.
I think in about 10 episodes, Troy, you're going to be like that guy that does all the disclaimers on the commercials. About greatest I pick it. Let's go.
Okay, now you got me off track. There's this meme going around where it's like two pictures and it's a goat, and it's like the goat's like making the sound effect, and then there's this cat sitting there, and at the end the cat just goes, huh? And I feel like that will be us pretty soon. All the listeners will be like, huh? Or the watchers. All right, Josh, the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 30, per the nominees in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article, and selected by me, is Ed Belfour, Josh. I love this picture. If you're watching on YouTube, it's fantastic. I love Eddie. He looks great in this picture. It's just the best one I could find. Additional nominees at number 30 were Henrik Lundqvist and Roger Vachon. So pretty good couple of group there. As a reminder, the greatest to wear number 30 was Martin Brodeur. And yes, he deserved to wear number. He is the greatest number 30.
Maybe the greatest goalie ever.
Yeah.
So
yep.
When I think now, ever since, what was it, maybe 6-8 months ago now, when I think it was a box of SP Game Used, and I pulled the Eddie Belfour, then it has like
Yes,
the like nickname
the
patches,
patch,
and it was just the moose, and I was so confused. They ended up swapping the patch by mistake with the Mark Messier patch, which should have been Eddie the Eagle, but it was Eddie the Moose, and
Eddie the Moose.
For like a whole night, I was like, "What is this?"
And you kept it, right? You didn't even get a replacement. Like, it was so cool, or like a air card, right? Did you keep that?
I think I still have it somewhere here, but yeah. Awesome. Okay, go ahead.
All right, Ed Belfour, goalie from Carmen, Manitoba. Belfour went undrafted and signed as a free agent with the Chicago Blackhawks in September of 1987. Belfour played in 963 regular season NHL games over a 17-season NHL career. Belfour began his career playing 7.5 seasons with the Chicago Blackhawks. He then played 13 games for the San Jose Sharks. Next, he played 5 seasons with the Dallas Stars. Then he played 3 seasons for the Toronto Maple Leafs before finishing his career with 1 season with the Florida Panthers, which I'm sure everyone forgets about, as I did. I had to like double check that a couple times to make sure. But it's true. For his awards and accomplishment, he's got a lot, actually. I knew he was great. I knew he was really good. I just forgot about some of these. He's a Hall of Famer, 1-time Cup winner. He was the 1990-91 Calder winner, 1990-91 All-Rookie Team, obviously, 2-time Vezina winner, 4-time Jennings winner, 2-time NHL First All-Star Team selection, 1-time NHL Second All-Star Team selection, 6-time NHL All-Star Game selection. He's number 81 on the Athletics Best 100 Players in Modern NHL History.
His cup was with Dallas, right?
I believe so. Got it. I write that. I usually put that down every time. And of course, this time I didn't, but I'm going to guess that's who it was. If not, someone will let us know, or I'll look later when I'm not talking. All right, for his career, Belfour had 484 wins, which is 5th all time, 320 losses, 125 ties or overtime. I think ties. I don't know if he was around when shootouts.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I'll say ties. 2.50 career goals against average, 0.906 save percentage, 76 shutouts, which ties him for 10th all time with Tony Esposito. Belfour made the playoffs in 13 of his 17 NHL seasons, compiling 88 wins, 68 losses, a goals against average of 2.17, 0.920 save percentage, and 14 shutouts in 161 NHL playoff games played. The best season of his NHL career was his 1990-91 season, which was also his rookie season with Chicago, where Belfour had 43 wins, 19 losses, 7 ties, a 2.47 goals against average, 0.910 save percentage, and 4 shutouts in 74 games played. That season culminated with Belfour winning the Vezina, the Jennings, and the Calder Trophy. During his career, Belfour averaged 57 games played per season, which is pretty amazing given what we see goalies do now for numbers, where there's a lot more load management and we're actually worried about their health and their injuries, and we kind of split time a little bit better than we used to. He also had 9 seasons of 30 or more wins. He also had 8 seasons with a goals against average of 2.47 or less. So Josh, Belfour, definitely an elite goaltender, one of the best all time. He was known for being fiery, competitive, athletic, and like a lot of goalies, he was often in a world of his own. He was very quirky. There's stories about him, and he is like a poster child when you think of the quirky goalie. He was definitely one of those guys you'd put up there. He was one of those goalies where the teammates and coaches they interviewed, you said you didn't talk to him at all during game days. You just didn't talk to him. So leave him alone. Some goalies are like that. Other goalies don't care. They're like, hey, what's going on? Also, Belfour would spend hours sharpening his skates before games to get focused. I always thought I would get so bored sitting.
How many blades would he go through?
I don't know what he's doing. If he even really did it, or it's just the motion, or I don't know how you do sit there for a couple hours sharpening.
Yeah, do you associate him with Chicago? Is that what you think of?
Yeah, I always think of him in Chicago, partly because of my next point, which is going to be when you think about Belfour, you talk about Belfour, you can't really talk about him or think about him without thinking about his mask, because it's one of the most iconic goalie masks in NHL history. And I read a really nice summary. This is from Wikipedia about the mask. And if you're watching on YouTube, I kind of got to zoom in. I couldn't find a really good close-up, high-res, front, left, right, back picture. So maybe I missed a website out there, but you can see on YouTube with the eagle on it. But this was what the write-up kind of said. Throughout his career, Belfour has worn masks featuring an eagle on either side of his helmet. When asked why an eagle, he stated, "I've always liked the eagle as a bird. It is a strong figure representing individuality, leadership, confidence, and outstanding vision. Its hunting and aggression are characteristics I admire. So when I was thinking of what I wanted on my mask, the eagle was a natural choice." Belfour's eagle has changed dramatically from a rough, native-looking style in Chicago to a fierce, competitive image in Dallas. While the background always features his current team's colors, on the chin, there's an image of the logo for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, a charity very close to his heart, and the backplate highlights his passion for speed and restored cars. The car on the back is a 1941 Willys, along with the words Carmen Racing, which is the name of Belfour's car customization and restoration shop in Freeland, Michigan. Don't ask me if that's still around, but this was from the write-up. Upon seeing Belfour's eagle mask for the first time, Mike Keenan, his head coach, when he was started in the NHL, nicknamed him the Eagle. So that's how it kind of all came about, but it's definitely one of the most iconic ones ever. I love the helmet. It looks awesome. All right, Josh, in his spare time, let's look at our boy now. He looks really good. Belfour is an accomplished triathlete. In his spare time, he collects and rebuilds classic cards and holds a private pilot's license. In addition, in 2014, Belfour helped launch Belfour Whiskey, which is where this picture is from. It's from the website. Now, fairness in reporting, in regards to alcohol, Belfour has had some very public arrests for alcohol-related incidents during and after his playing career. I think he's got them straightened out, but I think the most recent one was like a couple of years ago or 3 years ago. But it's always sad when the first picture you find when you Google him is like his mugshot, and it's just kind of depressing. But he's running a business now, whiskey business. Seems like it's pretty successful.
That's hard when you've had alcohol issues, because we had, and it's very public and documented here, but Mark Parrish, the former Wild player, was in big time trouble with alcohol, like life-threatening. Drinking so much. And I think at the time he went into rehab, he was launching a vodka company.
Yes.
Which is, you have to do like lots of appearances. You have to go to lots of bars and do all that sort of stuff. So that can be really problematic. Now in this
Yep.
picture, if you're watching on YouTube, we're looking, it looks like Eddie's lost. I mean, a lot of older people lose their hair a little bit,
Yep.
but he's kind of balding. I wonder now, do you think he should get the Eagles tattooed
That'd
on
be
each
sweet.
side of the head?
That'd be sweet. A little distracting, but it'd be sweet. No, he looks really good shape in this picture. All right, Josh, for fun, interesting facts. After wearing number 30 for his tenure with the Blackhawks, Belfour switched to number 20 while a member of the San Jose Sharks as a tribute to Vladislav Tretiak, his goaltending coach and mentor from the Blackhawks. He would wear this for the rest of his playing career. Thought that was interesting. He talked about how he didn't really have a goalie coach until he met Tretiak, which now that's not the case. Kids have goalie coaches by the time they're 4 years old, it seems.
Nickname, I think you should start a goalie academy for 4 years.
I absolutely refuse to be I coach my high school team. I refuse to do private stuff because I never wanted to have a conflict of interest anywhere. I get people that make a living doing coaching. They have to. It's just nature of the game. You have to have private stuff that you do. All right, nickname. We just kind of said it. Eddie the Eagle, but he also had another one. Crazy Eddie. So, I think Crazy Eddie, I think of National Lampoon's Uncle Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
Belfour played college hockey at the University of North Dakota and helped them win the 1987 NCAA championship. As much as it pains me to talk about, he did.
You know what's crazy about that? So at the time, of course, they were the Fighting Sioux.
Yeah.
He basically went from the same logo.
Yeah.
Very close in his college jersey to the Blackhawks because they both had a very similar logo before the whole hubbub at North Dakota and their name change.
Exactly. Belfour is one of only 2 players to have won an NCAA championship, an Olympic gold medal, and a Stanley Cup. Josh, we need a new name for this. Okay, this is like a new triple gold, but I don't know what to call it because the NCAA championship has gold, the Olympic medal has gold, Stanley Cup doesn't have gold, so we can't use our triple gold club because it's got the NCAA.
Well, we need to have like American in it somehow because it's very
somehow
American to have the NCAA. And I'll have to think. It's too late.
Yeah.
I'll have to think on that.
And if people are wondering who the other player was, it's Minnesota's own Neil Broughton is the other player who's done that feat.
I'm starting to think we need like a dinger for every time we make
we say something about Minnesota. We are good Minnesotans. Always got to point something out about us.
We'll have to have a YouTube counter or something like that.
Yeah.
That counts our references every episode.
We should. In the 1990-91 season, Belfour, God, I keep mistyping his name, but Belfour effectively won the goaltending equivalent of the Triple Crown. He won the Calder, the Vezina, and the Jennings. Belfour also led the NHL in wins, save percentage, and goals against average that year. A feat that wasn't repeated until Carey Price did it for Montreal in the 2014-15 season. Belfour ranks 4th all-time for penalty minutes, Josh, by a goalie with 380. Do you want to know who the other ones are? If not, too bad. I'm going to tell you. Number 3 is Tom Barrasso with 437 minutes. Second is Billy Smith with 475 minutes. And everyone should get number 1, Ron Hextall, with an amazing 569 penalty minutes for a goalie. Now you know.
Wow.
Yeah. Hextall's probably got a lot of misconducts in there. But I still remember him just people skating in front of him and 2-hand slash right to the back of their legs. And I think my son's kind of getting some influence from him because he covered a puck this weekend and a kid, obviously they come in, they try to bang the puck out of there. He got up and started punching him. And I was like, whoa. But I like the feistiness, just don't get penalties.
Did he get sprayed or something like that?
No, they slashed his hand, but it's part of hockey. It happens all the time. All right, Belfour's rookie card. 1990 Upper Deck, number 55. If you're watching on YouTube, it's got the picture. It's sweet. I love it. Old school style. Look at his helmet. Doesn't have the...
That's like the Osgood mask, isn't it?
Yeah. Has the... with the cat eyes that I swear... I'm almost positive a puck can get through there if it hits right.
Yeah.
PSA 10 pop count on this card is 722 with a gem rate of 42%. I don't know if we talked about this, but this card sells very regularly in the range of 20 to 45 US dollars. It's not, the pop count's not huge, but you can find this card basically any day on eBay. There's also, I didn't go and research this, but there's also a French version of this card, which is a little more popular and a lot less, pop count's lower.
Yeah, a little more rare, but
yeah, a little more rare, which people also like to collect too. So that's it. Eddie Belfour.
great overview. It's always fun to learn a little bit more about these guys. Well, Troy, it's Monday.
All right.
It's time for Who's Hot in the Struggle Bus.
All right.
Week 3.
Here we go.
So it's nice. We're a few games into the season at least. I think we have more of a track record. We were grabbing at straws a little bit in week 1 and week 2, admittedly.
Yeah.
And there's so many people we could feature this week for both Who's Hot in the Struggle Bus. So it was a little tough to pick. But that's the job, Troy. And people shouldn't call us heroes for making tough choices like these.
Yeah.
But we're happy to do it for the hobby. We do everything for the hobby. So we're going to start with our picks for week 3 of Who's Hot. First one was pretty inescapable. Dylan Larkin, Troy, leads off Who's Hot this week. I guess we have to make some sort of apologies to Jack Hughes, even though he didn't score a goal tonight. So is it over? Is the Jack Hughes run done? But we could have. I kind of feel like Jack Hughes is inching towards that McDavid territory where we could literally put him in Who's Hot every week. And at some point, it just gets repetitive. And then, plus, we haven't talked about Dylan Larkin, I don't think, that much on our show. And so I really wanted to highlight him a little bit and maybe learn more about him. But again, if you're watching on YouTube, this picture, I was kind of mesmerized by it because I think he's A, either celebrating a goal, or B, about to commit a homicide.
He does look like he's got a knife in his hand with that stick gripped.
Yeah, he's going to like Billy Club somebody, or I don't know. But anyways, Larkin is currently the second leading scorer in the NHL with 4 goals, 11 assists for 15 points and 9 games played for Troy's Detroit Red Wings.
Yep.
He's the captain, signed an 8-year extension for roughly worth $70 million with the team on March 1st and paying off so far after a torrid start to the season. He's obviously benefited from being paired what looks like a huge pickup, and maybe the pickup of the summer, in Alex DeBrincat.
Hint.
Yeah, hint. So now you have a top line of Larkin, DeBrincat, and Lucas Raymond for Detroit. That's a pretty good line.
Yeah.
Right there. So I looked up all 3 players in the first 9 games of the year have contributed a total of 15 goals, 19 assists for 34 points. I would definitely take that from my top line.
Definitely.
Not happening here in Minnesota. Larkin is 27, right in his prime. Was the 15th overall pick in the 2014 NHL entry draft by Detroit. Best season to date was last year, so that's good, right? Keeps trending up. Where he tied a career high with 32 goals, also tied a career high with 47 assists, but combined for 79 points, which beat his previous best season total of 73 points in 2018-2019. And for his career, Troy is 183 goals, 269 assists, 452 points, 593 games played. Larkin is a 2015 Young Guns, PSA 10, pop 675, 51% gem rate, last sold for $134 US on October 28th, up 53% in the past 2 weeks.
Nice.
Hobby's responding. All-time high for PSA 10 is just $200. So I don't know. You don't see PSA 10 base records very often.
No.
And if he keeps this rolling, maybe that'll happen. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So we start off Who's Hot with Dylan Larkin. Where do we go from here, Troy?
We stay right with the Red Wings. And we go with this guy, Alex DeBrincat. And I have to do the full disclosure thing before I speak about DeBrincat. I do own a PSA 10 of his Young Guns. So this is not Troy pumping and dumping. I did bring it to a card show that we set up when we went to the Minnesota Monthly Card Show. It was a couple months ago. And I actually brought it to sell. I had a pretty fair price on it. I didn't think anyone would buy it, but there were no takers.
But they should have.
Yeah, they should have, because you'd have had a big investment in gain. I put it back in my case. It's not actively selling anymore, but I just want to let everyone know I do own the PSA 10 Young Guns.
I really appreciate you doing that, but it would be pretty pathetic for us to use this platform to pump up one card.
Especially DeBrincat.
Yeah.
All right. DeBrincat has started out this season pretty hot, Josh. Doing okay from what I've gained. Over the past 2 weeks, DeBrincat has 6 goals, 3 assists for 9 points and 7 games played. In fact, the season DeBrincat has 9 goals, 4 assists for 13 points and 9 games played. This season, DeBrincat is now tied for 3rd in the NHL for points and 1st for goals. I didn't even know that until I just heard research. I didn't know he's 1st in goals. So it's nice to see DeBrincat having some early success after, let's just say, a not so great stint with Ottawa. It just seems like things never really clicked with him in Ottawa. And I read an Athletic had a really good article and an interview with him on why it didn't work out. And they basically summarized it like this: DeBrincat didn't like the city, didn't like playing second fiddle to Brady Tkachuk, and didn't agree with the coaching philosophy. So a change of scenery was definitely needed for him. Yeah, if you have those three things going for it or going against you, you're not in a good spot.
I don't like the city. I don't like the people, and the philosophy sucks. Get me out of here.
No, that's them paraphrasing. You have to read the article to really. And he even says, like, that's not what I meant. So there's kind of a little back and forth. And actually, one of the things that DeBrincat has mentioned is that in Detroit, he has his parents and his in-laws close by and enjoys having family support close by, which he didn't have in Ottawa. So nice to have, I guess. It's a different era for sure. Like you said that probably 30 years ago, everyone would have been on you. But now we know it's a little more important with mental health and stuff. However, I'm guessing, and we know a pretty big Ottawa fan, that Ottawa fans still have a sour taste in their mouths from DeBrincat's time with the team. Again, it just didn't work out, and it was time to move on. I think he let them know he wasn't interested. He could have played this year in Ottawa, but he let them know that he had no interest in signing long term, so they just moved him.
Listen, I don't like you. I don't want to be here, and your philosophy sucks. So
I'll play here,
do the right thing and trade.
Do the right thing. Get me out of here. So DeBrincat is a 2017 Young Guns. This isn't my card, by the way. This is one I found a picture of. His PSA 10 pop is 505 with a 44% gem rate. Last sold, Josh, and if I remember right at the show, I priced mine for $90 US, which was right around what it was going for. It was pretty close to. Yeah, it was right there. I mean, I usually don't go over anything. It was right at 90 was what the sales were. It last sold for $158 US on October 28th. In fact, it's up 88% in the past 2 weeks. So it's had a big jump. All-time high, check this out, for his PSA 10 is just $363 US set in February of 2022.
Don't lie, is that you?
No, it wasn't me. I made sure what was I?
Are you underwater or?
Oh, I'm underwater. Well, now I'm probably, I want to say I was a little more than 158. I was probably, I want to say 175 to 200, somewhere in there. I'd have to look it up, but
I remember when you got it, it felt a little random to me. It's like, because you're very, it seems like a card I would just buy out of the blue, but I was proud of you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you might get the last laugh.
We'll see.
All right, Troy, this is a big moment. I got to collect myself.
Moment. I got music. Hold on. No, I don't. We should have like some kind of music going. You tell me when you want the picture to go up.
Well, yeah, I've got it noted, and we'll.
Okay.
So we've been pretty tough on this guy. Let's admit it. He was a big deal. Had a ton of hype a few years ago. He certainly doesn't have the most points in the NHL, but he's off to such a good start, and he's been kind of trashed to this point. So I just had to do it. I had to give him his shine. A little bit, and a lot of people have maybe lost hope in this player. Some have maybe given up. We've even heard people's probably nobody say that Alexis Lafreniere would make an appearance on Who's Hot when Pigs Fly. Well, guess what, Troy?
There they are.
Pigs are flying.
Yeah.
And we got to give Alexis Lafreniere a little bit of his due on Who's Hot, because he's off to actually a pretty good start.
Yep.
Your guy Troy. No, he's not putting up Jack Hughes numbers, but he does have 4 goals in the Rangers' first 8 games played. Remember, he had 16 goals all of last year, so this is a definitive step in the right direction. Do you like my my background?
I do. I chuckled very. I love it.
Why do I spend so much time on stuff? But talk to my wife about that. Now, he does have 0 assists this year, but we'll forget about that just for today. And Troy, it was interesting about Lafreniere appearing on Who's Hot is one of our staffers told me that when the Rangers people went to inform him that he was going to make his first Gongshow appearance on Who's Hot, nobody could find him. They're frantically looking all over, and guess what? He was already standing in the struggle bus line, Charlie.
He was ready for the struggle bus. We're gonna lose every Ranger fan we ever had as a listener now.
Yeah, crazy. So, well, what's the difference for Laffy this year? Because that's what I was interested in.
Yeah.
It's an 8-game stretch, 4 goals. But I think that there is actually a substantive difference that we should pay attention to, because it appears the Rangers are actually giving him a serious chance to make an impact in the league. He's been playing on their second line, centered by Philip Heidel, and most importantly, by Artemi Panarin, who, of course, we know is a total assist machine and really great setup guy. And Laffy's also getting some time in the second power play unit, so much more offensive opportunity. And that's been, I think, one of the ways you could defend his performance, is that he was sort of like buried on the fourth line and not given a lot of opportunity. And I agree with at this point at 4 or 5 years into the league now, let him sink or swim. Put him up there in the top 6. He's the number 1 overall pick. He had a huge amount of hype. And for all the kind of fun we poke, and believe me, it's just fun. Neither of us have. Well, I don't, at least. You might hate his guts. But,
I don't hate him at all.
We have nothing. And actually, for the hobby, I'm really hoping we'll find another guy to joke on, but it would be a very good thing for not only Rangers fans, but awesome for the hobby for him to have a breakout year this year. And because a lot of people have spent quite a bit of money on his cards. So we're all rooting for that, for sure. Alexi Lafreniere is a 2020 Young Guns PSA 10, has a pop of 1,599, 39% gem rate, last sold for 113 US on October 28th, up 42% in the past 2 weeks. Oh,
yeah.
There we go. In case you're curious, Troy, all-time high for a Laffy Young Gun PSA 10, $1,050 on January 30th, 2021.
Yeah.
Yikes. It's going to be a bit before it gets back to that. But yeah, congrats. Had to do it. And again, I mean, there's lots of people with more points, but it's such a big deal to the hobby. So, hopefully it continues. Well, there it is. Still running week 3. No major mechanical issues. The struggle bus has pulled up, and we each have a player on the struggle bus this week. So I had to put on Trevor Zegras first. And I know some might be thinking, well, wait a minute. He scored a goal on Saturday night, and he did. And obviously that's great and a good thing. But it was only his second point in Anaheim's first 8 games.
Yeah.
Now, some may also be thinking that a slow start is a little bit to be expected, with Zegras missing a good part of training camp while his contract situation was being worked out. So I don't know, fair or unfair. But when you actually dig into it, though, and there are some continued, I guess, nuggets that I would find a little concerning if I've spent big money maybe on some of his cards, or if I was a fan of Anaheim. So at one point a few days ago in an overtime game versus Columbus, Ducks coach Greg Cronin actually benched Zegras. He only played 12 minutes in the game. And it sounds like, from what I've read, as an organization and coaching staff, they're being very vocal, Troy, about being committed to being pretty hard on him this year, and sending that message that he has to play with effort on both ends of the ice. And so what really kind of stuck with me for the first time, and because now we followed Zegras a little bit all throughout this fall, and starting again with the contract situation, the whole concept of him giving effort, it keeps getting repeated. And I was sitting there like thinking to myself today, how many like true NHL superstars do you ever hear don't give effort? It's like, at some point, are there red flags here that we all should be really paying attention to? Or, because it's either that or the management in Anaheim has some sort of vendetta against him, which I don't see what their incentive would be to, because he has superstar qualities, and he could be a big draw, like financially, even, not only, but God, this just keeps coming up again and
Yep.
again and again. I don't know. Are you starting to feel the same way?
Oh, I would definitely be worried, especially in today's game where you almost have to coddle these guys and make them feel special and not get too hard on them. They're going the complete opposite route, which makes me think they really are worried about it and the effort, and they're not seeing improvement. And that's the thing. I think I've been a fan of Zegras, and I said I would want him on my team, but if you keep seeing this and the Magic keeps going at him about effort. Now I've watched 0 Anaheim games this year, and it's on my list of teams I got to watch. I got ESPN Plus. I need to watch them and just see what he looks like out there for the 12 minutes he's on the ice.
Well, and the one sort of like really poor, very poor man's comparison that I would make that I think we've seen more because you don't get to see Zegers play much being on the
Yeah.
West Coast is last year with Kalen Addison, the defenseman for the Wild, who's
Yeah.
nowhere near as talented as Zegers, of course. But when he started the season, he was awesome on the power play. And then all of a sudden he was like benched. He hadn't played it. And then you're like, wait a minute. Because you kind of only paid attention to him as like a casual fan watching the game to him on the power play. And then you started to read, and it's like, yeah, he's great on the power play, but he lets in 2 goals a game by not, trying hard. All he wants to do is play on the power play. He doesn't actually want to be. And so, like, they had to work really hard to send that message. It seems like very similar to what Anaheim's trying to do with Zegras. And, again, Kalen Addison is not a big hobby chase, where Zegras definitely is. I looked up the other day, 61 Zegras cards have already sold for more than $1,000 US. 292 cards have sold for more than 500. He has all the style, flash. He's got that kind of cool, quirky nature to be a total star in this league. But it's just like things got to start clicking for him. And the other thing too that would be a little bit concerning is that he seemed to acknowledge this summer that what I need to do and how I need to give effort, and the whole cliche 200 feet kind of thing. But now he's being benched already, a couple games into the season. So we'll see what happens. He's a 2021 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 1,042, 30% gem rate. Last sold on October 28th for 140 US. Down about 3% in the past 2 weeks. So pretty much holding steady there. Okay, Troy, you got the last guy on the struggle.
I do got the last guy. So I gotta give a thank you to Patreon supporter T Olson 70 as he put this nomination in our Hockey Cards Gongshow show Discord. And Josh, I think he's dead on, and this would qualify for the struggle bus. Let me read you his stats so far this season. Mercer has 0 goals, 0 assists for 0 points in 7 games played. Does that qualify for struggle bus?
Yeah, I think that's a decent resume.
Yes, the struggle bus made a hard right turn and it came flying into New Jersey to pick him up. So let's look at Mercer. Right now, he's on the 3rd line, 2nd power play unit, and averaging 16 minutes, 32 seconds on ice per game. So what I take away from that, he's out there a pretty decent amount. He's getting opportunities. It's just right now it's not coming together, and he's really struggling to get on the score sheet. And trying to dig into what is going on with Mercer, I kind of defaulted to The Athletic because they had a pretty good article. And this was actually in a fantasy hockey article where they talk about this. But when you look at a quick deep dive on Mercer's struggles and go past the no goals, no assists, what's leading to that, his shot creation is down 6 attempts from last year's career high of 12.11 per 60 in all situations. And his scoring chance generation is low as well, which means either he's just not getting open, he's not reading the plays, he's not taking the shots, maybe gripping that stick too tight, like we always like to joke about. And it's just not coming together right now. And to really improve, he has to start scoring. And if he ever wants to get moved up to, 2nd line or maybe power play 1 unit and get a lot more opportunities to score, things are going to have to change because right now it's a pretty big struggle what's going on with him to start. Now, remember, he's in his 3rd year. And during his first 2 seasons, he combined for 44 goals, 54 assists, and 98 points. So the talent is definitely there to get on the score sheet. And he's also pretty young at 22 years old. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on Mercer. It just seems right now it's a tough struggle. And I didn't watch the Wild game today, which I wish I could have, to see if he was out there and what he looked like. But I don't know if you had a chance to see any of it. But
no, I didn't. The one concern I would have for Mercer is the team, and there's just so much offensive talent on the
it's like a
team.
juggernaut.
Yeah, it's like, how is he going to get into a top 6 role? And because it's not just him, they also have Alexander Holtz, which is another
Yep.
prospect that he's competing with vets, he's competing with superstars, and there's you have Jesper Bratt, who's a big time scorer. You have Toffoli, right? You've got Timo Meyer, you've got of course Jack Hughes, uh, good defenseman. You got brother Luke.
Yep.
So how much room is there for
Mhm.
so people that are spending a lot of money and thinking he might be the next big thing? He's got a lot of people to climb ahead of on his own team, let
Yeah.
alone let alone the rest of the league. And I know that up through last year he had performed appreciably better than
Yes.
Alexander Holtz, and so he had a big leg up on him in that regard. But yeah, that's I just wouldn't go too crazy because the whole there's Luke Hughes or the Jack Hughes and then probably Luke, and
Yeah.
I just don't know where Mercer's going to fit into the mix there.
Definitely. So Mercer's a 2021 Young Guns. His PSA 10 has a pop of 1,016 with a gem rate of 61%. Last sale was around $58 US on October 25th via eBay, verified Terapeak. In the beginning of October, this card was in the mid $60 US range. So it's down a little bit, not too much, but that's where it's at. But that's a huge pop and a pretty healthy gem rate there.
Yeah, 1,000 PSA 10s.
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy. All right, Trey, going to make a mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. We're, of course, incredibly grateful for their support. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction is live, so be sure to head to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction to check it out. I saw on their Instagram, Troy, it's their biggest weekly auction to date, I think with more than 1,500 items, so congrats to them there. And honestly, they might have to rename their company even temporarily to the Jack Hughes Consignment Service, because if you look at their auction, I think every big Jack Hughes card ever made is in this week's auction.
Nice.
And I get it. If you're a Jack Hughes collector or you're a guy who's maybe invested in him, now is the time to sell. And so I think a lot of people are kind of cashing in on that opportunity right now, and they're definitely doing it through Slab Sharks. So on Friday, I spent some time looking at all the amazing cards in the auction, and honestly, Troy, I could spend $100,000 this week's auction. So if you loaned that to me, you want to do that, with maybe some favorable terms, like if I agreed to pay you back in 1,000 years or something like that, I'd find a way to spend it. So I picked out 5 cards that I really like from this week's auction, and honestly, they're all pretty ridiculous. So got to start with Jack, of course. How about this 2019 Exquisite Collection rookie patch auto out of the jersey number 86? What an awesome patch. What an awesome card. Love it. Love it. And I don't know if any Jack Hughes rookie, this might be one of the ones that I would want right here. Here's another nice one, Troy. Cole Caulfield RPA 101 with another 6 patch from one of your favorite sets, Stature. It's the 2021 Stature Purple rookie patch auto 101. Another filthy patch.
That
is an awesome card. Love that there. But that Caulfield, though, Troy, did distract us from Jack, so we'll get back to him. Here's a 2019 clear-cut UD Canvas Signatures Blue Ink Auto out of 25, BGS 1010. That's pretty awesome. Another really kind of cool Jack Hughes rookie. But okay, we'll move on from Jack. Now this card, Troy, hits me in all the right hobby fields. I'm throwing it out there. It's my birthday next week. It's my sweet 46. So think about that too. And here's a 2020-21 Premier Tim Stützle RPA at a 49. Another beautiful patch. Jeez.
The old auto, right? This is the old auto.
Yeah, the old auto. So not the TS baloney right now. Then for the last one, Troy, I'm going to give a fearless hobby prediction that many people will be chasing this card. 2018-19 OPC Platinum Wayne Gretzky Seismic Gold out of 50 PSA 10. It's got the 2 things that equal hobby magic and dollars, gold and Gretzky. All in one card. You can't go wrong.
Great card. Looks awesome.
And honestly, it's just a small taste of what's in the auction. So again, go to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction. And Troy, if you're a Canadian hockey cards collector that's looking to liquidate some of your cards. And by liquidate, I don't mean turn them into melt them into liquid or anything like that. I mean convert them into cash. Then we'd strongly recommend using Slab Sharks eBay consignment services. They make it super easy to sell your cards because, well, they do all the work. And by all the work, we mean all the work. They do everything. You just send in your cards or drop them off at a card show, or I think you can do it at their offices. Don't quote me wrong. Don't drop them off at their houses or anything like that. Plus, your cards get included in these ridiculous auctions that keep attracting more and more buyers. Like we said, biggest one ever this week. So check out slabsharks.com for complete consignment information, payout rates, and to get started consigning your cards with them today. Hobby news.
Hobby news.
Well, Shane Pinto, Troy.
Yeah.
A little bit of a gambling suspension. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy news there. The 22-year-old Ottawa forward was suspended by the NHL for 41 games, retroactive to the start of the season. So it's a half a year suspension for activities related to sports wagering. And this is where it kind of gets weird. Like, I actually went down the rabbit hole in reading articles on this. And 101 is not adding up to 2 in this whole scenario. So I think it's being acknowledged that there's no evidence that Pinto bet on NHL games, and that's not the reason why he's suspended. But he is the first modern hockey player, though, suspended for sports betting. And as the suspension was announced, he released a statement saying, "I want to apologize to the National Hockey League, the Ottawa Senators, my teammates, the fans of the city of Ottawa." Alex DeBrincat, I don't see him. And most importantly, my family. Pinto sent a statement, of course, released by the team. "I take full responsibility for my actions. Look forward to getting back on the ice with my team." So it's shocking to see it. You're suspended for gambling. You didn't gamble on the NHL, but the problem though is that it's not against the NHL rules for NHL players to gamble on other sports. So if he didn't gamble on the NHL, but you're allowed to gamble on the other sports, then why is he suspended?
Mm-hmm.
And so I found a New York Post article that mentioned that he did something akin to like a plea agreement with the NHL that is going to sort of protect confidentiality. So we might not actually get the details of this situation or know exactly what happened. But then it also mentioned in the article that someone might have had access to his account and placed wagers. So maybe he had an account and somebody logged in from a different location, or the whole thing is kind of weird.
Yeah, that is weird. I was thinking I got a couple theories. It could be that obviously it's a source for the Times, or the New York Post.
Yeah.
So that could be one of them. My other couple thoughts when I heard that he didn't bet on the NHL. Second one is, I'm guessing there's a rule that you can't wager on other sports while in a team facility. I think that rule is out there. I don't know if this is true. This is me just going off thoughts of maybe that was the reason. And then my third one was he passing inside information to someone? Because he would know pretty well injury stuff with the team that maybe it's not reported, and he was providing someone with that. So it could be those two, or it could be what the New York Post kind of had a source say. Obviously, I have zero sources, but I was just trying to think of other reasons, because it is they made it pretty clear that he did not bet on NHL games.
Yeah. So you mean he was like, "Hey Troy, got to pass some information to you. Josh Norris is hurt."
Yep.
And you're like, "Oh, wait a minute, he was healthy?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but it also kind of makes sense now too that he has remained unsigned to this point. And I think when stuff like this goes down, like this didn't all just happen like 3 or 4 days. I'm sure that he knew this was coming for months, and that's probably why he's been unsigned and he's still not signed, because I'm sure that there's some like salary cap maneuvering that Ottawa is, even if they intend to bring him back, is probably doing by remaining him like a restricted free agent or something like that.
Well, yeah. And the Athletics said that their sources are telling them he will sign once the suspension is done. Like, they have a deal in place. He just will not sign it, and which is kind of crazy to me, but they will wait till the suspension gets done and then they're going to release the deal, or he'll sign it. But yeah, that's crazy.
So looking at the initial kind of market impact or hobby impact, last sale of 2021, Shane Pinto Young Guns, PSA 10 pop 243, 34% gem rate. Last sold for a huge $32, Troy, on October 18th.
Ooh.
Now, this was before the suspension announcement. The only thing I really found after the suspension was a Young Guns Canvas PSA 10. Yesterday sold for $14. Holy cow.
Yeah.
It's like half of the grading cost.
Yeah, I mean, if you got Pintos, you probably just hold it and see what happens.
Yeah, don't sell it. And
don't sell it.
If you still believe in this guy,
yeah,
now's the time to buy, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you I always get panic about. So Alexander, is it Dag or Dag?
I always say Dag. I know it looks like Daigle, but I say Dag. And I'm sure they're both wrong.
Now, it would, if he opened up a bagel shop, then he would want to pronounce it Daigle's Bagels.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
So Alexander Daigle, I'm sure we'll hear from a million people. And thank you for that. We actually do appreciate it.
Yeah, we do.
Hate pronouncing names wrong, but sorry. This will be quick. And what may serve as a cautionary tale, Troy, for buying into players of the hype of the hobby, like, I won't mention it. I'm going to be nice. ESPN Plus and Prime Video announced they're producing a documentary about Dag Daigle called Chosen One, Alexander Dag Daigle. That's the official name, Dag Daigle. It's going to appear in 2024. It follows kind of his teenage years as a hockey phenom in Quebec, and expectations had on him when drafted by Ottawa is what, like, looked at as the savior of the franchise, and never really able to live up to them. So I just thought it was kind of be interesting. I'm pretty excited to see it, and hopefully it does well. Is this something that you'll be interested in?
Yep,
do you remember
sure.
kind of all the hype around and hoopla around him coming into the NHL?
I do remember some of the hoop and the hype on it. It's funny because every time I read something about an undrafted player, I'll always find an article around the bust. When you're looking for the best undrafted players, you always find articles on the biggest bust of the draft, and he's always in there.
Yeah, was it Yakupov? Is that the other one?
Yeah, he's in there. There's a bunch. There's a couple of guys that always come up.
I think there's a Joe Sakic documentary coming by the same production company too. So some hockey docs, which
good.
Now, probably won't have the cultural impact that The Last Dance did, but it'll be fun for us hockey guys. Okay, this next one I'm actually really excited about. And had you seen this about it's now we're going to tie it back into hockey. Don't worry.
Yep.
We're going to veer off into baseball for a couple seconds, but then we'll bring it back into hockey. So Topps debuted their MLB debut patches. Probably could have worded that better. That are 101 cards. So basically what they did is this year, when a rookie played in their first MLB game, there is this patch that if you're watching on YouTube, it says MLB debut. It's a full patch. It was sewn onto their jersey. After the game was played, the patch was removed from the jersey and specifically, what would you call it? Inserted into or embedded into this 101 card that is basically an RPA. So it's a full patch. It's dated. You know the exact game it played in, and it's the players from the player's first game. 101 card. The coordination to pull this off is that the league and the manufacturer have to be in total cahoots.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that I think that Fanatics has really been able to leverage is their influence over the leagues that they have deals with. So the NBA and NFL, and but right now they're mainly producing Major League Baseball cards. So we're seeing a lot of, I guess, the new innovation there. I think this is like amazing.
Yes.
I can't imagine that, like, when the right rookie comes by, like I said, you got a full patch. You know exactly the game. It's completely unique. You can go watch the TV and see it on the player's jersey. And
I think it's in the picture. I'm pretty sure that's it on his arm right there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think that's it. It looks about right.
Don't you think these cards are going to go for a fortune?
Like, I would think so. Guy? Yeah, I would think so. And I know where you're going with this, and yes.
Yeah, I would love to see the NHL do this. The other thing I like about it too is that it must be like lightly sewn or maybe like scotch taped on or something, probably better than that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean like that the player still gets to keep the jersey. So they remove the patch from the jersey, and that specific component is done in conjunction with the trading card company. this is there's a lot of scary stuff about Fanatics, but some of the stuff that they're doing in this regard is awesome.
When I first saw this picture, I didn't like it, but now I like it. I don't know what it was. Why the first time? And it was a different. I don't know if it was this exact picture, but I do really like the patch and how they did it. My only thing is, do you think it would look or be cooler if they had somehow the team embedded in the patch, like what team they were on? I know the picture is going to show it. But I don't know. I thought maybe a logo, like a Yankee logo somewhere. It really doesn't fit anywhere here how they designed the patch, but I thought that would be kind of.
I didn't think of that, but I had like a similar question about now. So if you're Topps, would you do the same patch every year, or would you switch up the patch from year to year?
I would probably switch it up just because that's another unique characteristic of the year they made their debut.
I imagine like a Connor Bedard NHL debut, right? Because it takes away all the ambiguity that we're all getting nervous about. Like even when we see Shields, it's like, well, did he put the jersey on for 32 seconds or 3.2 seconds and take it off? Did he wear it during warmups? It's like, like in this case, we're showing an Anthony Volpe card from the Yankees that the entire game is first ever Major League Baseball game. This dude is wearing the patch on his jersey the whole time. Right. It's just like the provenance is so rock solid on that I think that, like I said, you get like if the Julio Rodriguez or I'm trying to think of or the Aaron Judge or something like that, or Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, something like that these cards would just go for
agree.
So I can't wait to follow that, and hopefully the Upper Deck can swing something like that with the NHL.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Want to mention one really quick last thing in hobby news. It's a kind of a sneaky change. Well, I don't know if sneaky applies, but I guess I never saw an announcement, but eBay made a change to Terapeak. Not sure if you noticed this, Troy, but when you go into Terapeak, which again is, oh boy, how do I explain this quickly? It's eBay's other reporting platform that's within the sales part of an eBay account if you have a seller account. But what makes Terapeak significant is where eBay sales history shows closed auctions, but not necessarily the ones that have been paid for. If you want to get a rock solid comp that was paid for in eBay, or as rock solid as it gets, and you want to use Terapeak. Now, Terapeak, one of the tiny bummers, it was limited to a 2-year look back. I just noticed today or yesterday that they increased it to 3 years.
I did not notice until I saw this in our show notes, and I went out and looked, and it says 3 years. Did you just randomly? Because I've never changed that from 2 years ever. It always saved it because of the cookies or whatever, but I never even thought about changing the look back period. So I was curious how you did.
Yeah, sometimes I go from like if I'm there's certain cases where I would just like want to look back like a week or something like that. Then I'll do that. But why? So you may, well, who cares? Why is this significant? Well, if you're trying to comp like a rare card that doesn't sell very often, having that extra year look back could be a big difference information wise. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone, for you sports cards data geeks like me and Troy, that it's kind of a big deal.
And then if you need farther back than 3 years, that's where we use Card Ladder a lot.
Card Ladder.
Because they have, I don't know, it goes back to the beginning of millennia. Yeah, it goes way back.
It goes back to the beginning of time. Okay, Troy.
All right, let's do this.
Let's talk about hockey wax. So
let's talk about it.
Kind of thrown out the question, will hockey wax prices crash? And we have been talking about hockey wax a lot lately, but mainly in the context of Series 2 pre-sales. But there's another side of this coin, though, that I think we've hinted at a little bit, but haven't tackled in earnest yet. And it's the struggle that many, whether it be card shops or in some case breakers or online retailers, are having selling all other new hockey products that are not somehow tied to Connor Bedard right now. And we've heard from both folks around the US and in Canada and have experienced like firsthand in at visiting our local card shops that it's crazy where every box is on sale. I've never seen that before. At all. And it's like when we go to the local card shop, we get our products from. Anything that isn't Series 1 right now is anywhere from 15 to 25% off. And so we've asked them, geez, how come everything's on sale? And they're holding a ton of inventory. and they're pretty nervous and frustrated with about how much product they're carried, and they just have a lot of concern about that. And then we go to another local card shop, and again, almost every product's on sale. They have clearance tables with
Yep.
boxes and boxes of hockey products that are on deep discounts. And then just beyond our little ecosystem here in Minnesota, we pointed out even in like Dave and Adams, while pre-sales for Series 2 keep skyrocketing to $300 a box now. If you dig a little bit beyond that, you'll notice almost everything else is deeply discounted. Like we've referenced 2021-22 Metal Universe. So Cole Caulfield rookie PMGs, a hobby box is under $60 right now.
Yep.
US. And there's lots of like flagship. You go back to like 2021-22 flagship. It's like they're giving it away, Troy.
No.
It's ridiculous how cheap you can get it. So we thought we'd spend some time dig into what might be happening to hockey wax and why card shops are sitting on so much inventory. But of course, like most things in life, there's no smoking gun. It's a confluence of issues and events. It's not one, I don't think at least, one kind of key thing. And, I think that is all adding up to a scenario where us collectors might see some very, very cheap wax pretty soon. And so what we want to do, I guess, to start the conversation is go through what we think are the meaningful factors that are contributing to the growth or growing supply of wax and maybe weaker sales. So I've got a kind of a list here of things. And again, this is why maybe we're headed to a crash in wax prices. So the first thing that I point out, Troy, is just the volume of new releases, right? It's pretty well known, of course, at this point that the pandemic put a big wrench in Upper Deck product release schedule, and they've been very behind since then. But now, gosh, you think about it, and we're almost in 2024, and we're still dealing with those pandemic ramifications.
Yep.
So we're still in a scenario like even the last month, right? We've had 2021, 2022, and 2023 products coming out at the same time, essentially. And the other thing too, and I think is the more significant issue than just the different release years, although that does create a little bit of, it does create confusion to what degree, I don't know, amongst collectors, is it's like every week we have a major release. Now you might be thinking, well, that's awesome. And it kind of is, right?
Yeah.
When you have new hockey products coming out all the time. But I don't know, to me, and we have to pay so close attention with the show, I feel like I can't even keep up anymore. Like my head's spinning a little bit. And in a way, it's almost been like too fast. Have you kind of felt that way too? It's like, it's just.
I do once you send me the email that says there's a new checklist out, and I'm like, sheepers, let's go through this one. And yeah, it does. But I think we talked about in the past, they were going to have to do this at some point. I do think with how that, I don't know. I always wonder, did they know the demand for Series 2 of 23-24 was going to be this? It seems like it has been, I don't know if it's bigger than expected, maybe not, but yeah, it seems like now you got to get stuff out the door before Series 2 gets released.
Mm-hmm. That I think that's definitely an issue. And so, like I said, it's like every week something's coming out, and it's like you don't even like. I'm trying to think like all day of the right way to put this, but it's like it doesn't even like soak in, and then something new comes out. It's like, oh, okay, I guess this is done now, and now we're on to Series 1 or something like that. And so I don't know like what the perfect cadence is. I guess intuitively, I think maybe like 2 releases a month would be tops. Then you have like kind of that 25 releases a year. It feels like it's been 3 to 4. And in some cases with EPAC exclusives and other retail, it's been even more than that. And so they've just been coming. And I think, what happens is when you're releasing products faster than people can buy it, it just creates a problem. So like if you're a local card shop, and let's say you get 10 cases of SPX. I don't know if that's a lot or not, but and then a week later, Allure comes out and you get 10 more cases of that. And then 10 days after that, it's Series 1. It's just like I said, I think it's coming out faster than people can buy it. And so this inventory is building up at these card shops, and they've got all their money tied up in inventory and they need cash flow.
Yeah. And I don't want to jump the gun. I don't know if you talk about this, but and maybe I don't know what the answer is or what, because we've heard kind of, you read chats and forums and stuff, but also if somehow their allocation is tied to
Yeah.
like what they're going to get allocated for 23, 24, what series 2 is tied to what they purchased from previous products. I don't know if it is. I think I've heard rumblings it might be. I know.
I've heard rumblings that Series 1 is. So if you wanted
Is that
10
what it is?
cases of
Series 1?
Series
Okay, so they're
2,
maybe not
you'd have to
getting
have.
these other stuff. Yeah. That, I mean, that's part of an issue too, or not issue, but could lead to something.
It's a very complicated issue because, of course, like I said, we like hockey releases.
Yeah.
We want Upper Deck to get caught up, but and I think you go back in time, maybe they should have combined more products. Maybe that would have been a solution. I don't
Yeah.
know the like what they're doing with Clear
Yeah.
Cut, just as a way to then you get the best cards into one set, and you don't have as many like rookies never heard of, that sort of thing. But so the total volume of new releases is kind of the first contributor that we'll point out. The second thing that I think is affecting current wax prices is we have rising box prices with falling singles prices. To
Hmm.
me, that's not like a great formula for fun
Yeah.
and that gets you excited about buying more and more wax. So let's tackle the rising box prices first. Inflation has been a real thing in all
Yeah.
of our lives over the past 2 years now. I mean, a stick of butter right now is kind of insane. I don't know if you've had like that like sticker shock at the grocery store. You're like, wait, butter's
Not the
five
grocery
dollars?
store. Yeah, Subway. I bought Subway for myself and my son and his friend this weekend
Like
for, and it
45 bucks, something like that.
was like $48 for for 3 meals basically. I
Yeah.
was like, whoa. That's when I first, I mean, I know it's expensive. My wife tells me all the time because she does most of the grocery shopping. But yeah, it's getting up there.
And so, given that context, I mean, it's not surprising that wax boxes are going to creep up a little bit, and because I'm sure Upper Deck has experienced increases in material
Yep.
costs or manufacturing costs, shipping, logistics, all throughout the board. And and even in scenarios where there isn't super high inflation, the box prices will creep up every year. That's sort of the
Hmm.
natural order of things. One of the things too that Upper Deck has mentioned on our show a few times is they've tried to make moves like with the new flagship configuration to reduce costs of certain components of the products that we collectors likely care little about, like maybe less base cards, less packs to open. They need less foil, and
Hmm.
it's just kind of keep the prices down. But all that being said, the box prices keep going up, and the flip side of that, of course, is it has not been a great year for the singles market. If you use like a data source like Card Ladder Hockey Index, hockey's down 15% in the past year. So when you have box prices going up 15 to 20%, singles going down 15 to 20%, again, it doesn't equal out to kind of a winning formula for
Hmm.
continuing to rip more and more wax. Um, and I think like, well, you think, well, how does this affect the current price of wax? Because I think there is a fair amount of people, and even you and me to some extent, maybe fall in this category that we like to buy boxes and sell most of the cards and use that money to help fund more boxes.
Hmm.
And so when you're paying maybe $130 for a box that was $110 last year, and the cards that are, that maybe would have been worth $115 last year are worth 780 this year and are tougher to sell or taking longer to sell, you're just not getting recouping your invest if you're a person that does that right
Yep.
in your boxes. So it's just harder to kind of make that work these days. But I do you agree that the kind of inverse relationship between the increase in box prices and the decrease in singles prices might be affecting this a little bit?
Oh, for sure. It's definitely one of the components. It's one of those things we've kind of watched and been like, how long can this sustain itself?
The next thing, which I actually think has been kind of a big deal,
Yeah.
is product hic. I'm going to call them product hiccups. I'm trying to be like, very, again, I don't want to, our goal isn't to trash anyone or anything like that, but I think we have to acknowledge that there's been some issues with a lot
Hmm.
of, and a lot of like the big important ones that we've been waiting for a long time. So I'm just going to go back. And I did this off the top of my head. So I might have even missed a couple, but we had 2021-22 OPG Platinum, which it had been a long time since Platinum had came out between 2020. You have the Cole Caulfield rookie class. People are really excited. And we had some like big time centering issues on these cards. And I'm telling you, it took and I'll just speak for myself and let you speak for you, but it kind of took all the steam out of this release. I went from very excited to instantly, I don't want to spend $200 on a box and have like 90-10 centering on all my hits.
I did not buy any personal boxes of it because of that.
And I think like 3 months prior, like you'd have said that for sure you would buy.
Yeah. Well, I just probably said on the show, yeah, I'll buy some boxes, probably a couple, 2 or 3. Now, if I want anything, I got to go to find a single that I want instead of the wax.
And it's not like we expect centering to be perfect on every card, but there was some. I struggle.
There's just some egregious examples.
Yeah, and I want to use like fair language. I don't want to like overestimate things, but I think that there was some significant centering issues that were at least prevalent enough in the release that it kept me away from buying more boxes. And then I've talked about this next one a lot because I'm still bummed out about it. I was so excited for 2021-22 credentials because I love their debut ticket access rookie autos. And it's a very, the whole niche of the product is rookie autos. It's that one card, but most of the key rookies were missing. So the product almost doesn't even make sense at that point. And now it is like crazy discounted. I think it's just going to get worse and worse. And it's a shame because, again, I think the cars are really cool looking. And I don't know what has gone on with the autos from 2021-22 hobby class. Or, I'm not even blaming Upper Deck, of course. Who knows? Might be out of their control. But in my mind, it kind of killed that product.
Yeah.
And it's that one local card shop has a table where there's like 100 boxes of
just sitting there
on it,
and it's not moving.
They keep dropping the price every week. But when there's no like Zegras or Caulfield or Cider or I can't remember exactly the list, but it's like all the cards you would want are not there. So, I mean, what do you do at that point? And then you had the kind of the same issue with 2021-22 Stature.
Yep.
When you have no Caulfield autos in the release, that's a problem. And I know that they did the bounty program for it, but it's still, it doesn't make you want to jump to your local card shop and buy a box, right? Because you want to open it and get that Caulfield auto.
Yeah, because the redemption or the bounty program, whatever they named it, takes a lot of work. It's not some of those things. Or maybe it was at the I can't remember. One of them was like just turn this one in and get another one. I can't remember exactly what.
One of them was easier, one
was easier than the other. I just can't remember which one.
I think all those bounty programs are pretty expensive though. Yeah. I mean, unless you're like really bird dog it and get super savvy.
Yeah.
Then you had Ultimate Collection for 2021-22, where again we have more auto issues with this 2021 hobby class, and we have some sticker autos. Now all the key rookies are there, but in a product like Ultimate, we're expecting hard signed autos, and so again, it's like, God, do you want to spend that much money on a box?
Yeah.
And end up with the sticker auto, maybe versus SP Authentic or something like that, where you can buy the Future Watch Auto patch, where it's going to be hard signed and get that Caulfield or that Zegras, whoever the rookies were. So I mean, again, that kind of all this stuff just takes steam out of and hurts momentum of these releases. And then finally, we have 2023-24 Series 1, where we have a big price increase, new configuration, a lot of excitement around the new Young Guns Parallels and of course, the Outburst Gold, the 101. And right away, we start to see reported incidents of boxes or cases that are missing Young Guns. We have the whole population count 1, which is intended to be a 101 card, where we're seeing 2 or 3 now cards that are being pulled. And it just lowers the confidence that people have in the release. And so I think that, and this is about half or so, or maybe 40% of some of the newer releases. It doesn't help, I guess, is the way that I'll put it. Is that fair? How much of a factor do you think that?
Oh, it's a huge factor. I think this is probably maybe the most important factor, because guess what? When hobby shops are stuck with product, they're going to have to get rid of it at some point. You just can't sit on it forever if no one is interested in it. It's missing key things that people would want. It's not like those are going to get put in later. I think this is a huge one.
Then moving along, the next big factor that I want to throw out there is the 2022-23 hobby rookie class.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of 2022-23 releases. And in the long run, the rookies from this class might be just fine. And we might have some all-timers, legendary players. It's still very, very young. But if you're judging the chase or hype or excitement from today, none of these guys are really lighting the world on fire. So I made a little bit of a list here, Troy. So this is so far in the season. What, depending on the team, we're like 7 to 9 games in. Matty Beniers has 0 goals, 3 assists in 9 games. Matt Boldy has played 1.5 games and has been hurt ever since.
Yeah.
Juraj Slavkowski has 0 goals, 1 assist in 8 games played. Owen Power is doing fine. I mean, he's just going to be a really good, rock solid defenseman.
Yeah, he's going to be a rock star defenseman.
Yeah, but that's not where hobby value comes from, though. He's got 0 goals, 4 assists in 8 games played, and again, not going to drive a lot of hobby steam. Lucas Reichel stinks so far this year. He's got 0 points in 8 games played. Now, there's a couple of like maybe early bright spots. You have Wyatt Johnston, who has 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, 6 games played. Our guy, Marco Rossi, 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points, and 8 games played. Really good starts, but these are not 2 players that are going to like drive sales of new products. So again, we have a huge release coming out this week in 2022-23 SB Authentic. We're going to get new Future Watch autos, and this is the rookie class.
Yeah. How do you get it's going to be hard to get excited. I know they're going to have some hype still just from where they were drafted, but when you start looking into how they're starting out this season, besides those couple guys you mentioned that are okay starts, that gets concerning.
But you're not going to like be excited to spend $180 on SB Authentic for Marco Rossi. I love the kid and I'm rooting for him and he plays for my team, but I'm just kind of being honest here.
I'm going to look for what's on like the veteran list that they're going to be in the checklist. I'm more concerned about that.
So yeah, I mean, this happens, right? Not every year is a total rock star year. Yeah, but I think that this issue isn't helping either. Then the last thing that I kind of have, which is we've alluded to a little bit, but it's the whole Bedard effect.
Yeah.
And I don't know, in my mind, this could be the biggest reason. And now this is like a multi-dimensional issue, so I'll try to do my best to kind of cover it from all angles. But, you know, nothing that comes out right now just feels as exciting as what we expect Series 2 to be.
Yep.
Like, you know, we're all pretty amped up for that. And, you know, so it's like a hobby. We just want, it's like, yeah, get them out here. Let's get to Series 2. Right. And I think Karn Rai, who had said perfectly on our show a few weeks ago, that there's a limited amount or just a general pool of money that goes into the hobby. And that covers everything from like wax to singles and breaks. And so if Series 2 hobby boxes are going to be $300 a box and people want the huge amount of demand and people are going to want them, they're one of the unintended consequences of that is going to be when 2022-23 products come out or other products come out that maybe people will buy less of those. Or like, well, if I'm expecting Series 2 out in a couple months, I would rather save my money and get 3 boxes of Series 2 and increase the chances I get a Bedard Young Gun. I just think that that's having an impact. And that might even affect, you know, products like Series 1 or even Artifacts that comes out. Even though I expect sales of Artifacts to be pretty strong. And the second thing I'd point out in the Bedard effect, Troy, is that I've been really kind of thinking a lot lately about this whole $300 a box thing here in the US. And the more and more I think about it, I can understand the temptation to do it. But I think it's, whether it be retailers or distributors or card shops, who's ever kind of driving the price on this, that they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. Yeah. It's like they're going to win the battle but lose the war, because these, again, with people war chesting for Bedard, they're only being a limited amount of money. And it's like, yeah, are you going to make a ton of money on Series 2 hobby, but are you going to lose money on every other release that comes out between now and then? And so what's the net effect? of that going to be? Right. And again, I kind of worry that it's like winning the battle, losing the war, where if you keep series two reasonable,
Yeah.
like, you know, we might gripe a little bit if series one is $120 and series two is 140, but I don't think that that's going to change our consumption patterns. And I'm telling you, $300 boxes of series two are going to change consumption. Either you're going to buy less series two or not at all, or you're going to buy nothing else.
And
Right?
just think, if you're going the case route, it's now $3,600 for a case of Series 2.
Mhm.
That's a lot of money.
And part of me thinks that Upper Deck knows this, and I also feel what's going on right now, and this kind of gets back to the frequency of releases a little bit, that they need to get out anything and everything that is 2021-22 or 2022-23 before Series 2 comes out. So
Yeah.
it's like, and I would probably do the same thing, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. So I'm not
Yep.
trying to, because I think the logical assumption is that if Series 1, 2 comes out and then a week later, 2022-23 SP Authentic comes out, is anyone going to buy that? No.
No.
They're just, I'm going to spend more money on Series 2 and kind of and chase that Bedard Young Gun. And so I think that the whole Bedard effect is having kind of, again, is contributing. So we go back to, and there might be more, and you guys can definitely reach out to us and give us your theories. Would love to
Yeah.
learn from you as well. But you have tons of products coming out almost weekly. You have rising box prices, falling singles prices. You have the product hiccups that we went through. You have the weakness of the 2022-23 hobby class, and then you have the whole Bedard effect. And so going back to our original question is, you know, are what we're witnessing right now, all these products on sale, and they seem to be going down, down, down. Are we kind of in the midst of hockey wax kind of crashing a bit? What do you think?
I think we're gonna. Well, I think we're starting to see it. Obviously, with the even just locally, we talked about it enough about the product, but all these other confluences happening. I'm just really interested to see what happens with like the SPA authentic pricing. I think that will be really, really telling. I think we're starting to see it. I think it's got more room to go. I don't know how much more, but I definitely think we're seeing it.
And I'm starting to wonder if the savvy move might be to just kind of zig when they zag. If
Yeah,
everyone's going to go nutty over Bedard,
you're a contrarian.
yeah,
Contrarian investment theory.
I'm going to be very curious to see the wax prices at the expo.
Yes. Oh, so am I, because I that's all I look for is wax. I look for singles too, but my favorite thing to do at the expo is scour wax and see how prices compare between all the tables, and then try to find the cheapest one, and then watch price matching happen.
And then go back to the original one that was so cheap, and then it sold out. And then
yeah, and it's sold out like an idiot. I'm like, oh.
Kind of worried about you. Are we gonna have to rent a U-Haul to get all your wax back? But was there anything that I missed, do you think, or any kind of factors or variables that you see affecting this? And
Not off the top of my head. When I read through what you put, that's all the stuff I would have thought about, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Mhm. So we'll keep following it. And the other thing too that I think that is worth mentioning is that, again, if you can fight FOMO, which is so hard to do, because believe me, there's nothing that gives me more joy than going out on release day and buying
Mhm.
that box. But you don't have to wait long
Yeah.
before that box that was maybe $140 on release day is now $110 3 weeks later.
Yep.
So if you adjust your schedule, you might be able to get some savvier deals that way too. All right, Troy, keep it on the new product release theme. One of the things that we've been kind of talking about is, you know, could retail actually be a smarter play for
Mhm.
Bedard Young Guns if hobby box prices and case prices, you know, continue to trend up or even stay where they're at? And so one of the things that I hadn't really done to this point is dig into the new retail configuration
Yep.
for flagship, because it makes sense that it's not you know, that's going to change too. And I think you're going to find this. Had you read ahead, or is this all new to
No,
you?
I haven't read ahead on this.
Okay, so I think you're going to find this really interesting and maybe slightly depressing. So you're gonna have to give us your feedback. So there's new blaster configuration that because Series 1 is available, I should mention, on November 1st, so in a couple days. So you'll be able to get Series 1 blasters. David Adams is showing a pre-sale pricing of $24.95 US, which is what they are. I think they are currently at Target here, at least. That's kind of the going blaster rate. So, and then they're showing $29.95 for Series 2. So, $5 more. Okay, I can live with that. Now, again, with the new configuration, instead of I think blasters typically had 6 packs, right? Or 8
I
packs.
think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so well, you're gonna get 4, and it's gonna have 12 cards per pack, just like retail. But there are differences, though. They made the odds worse. Now, this is where I think one of the kind of things that was potentially advantageous about retail is the Young Guns odds didn't change. For blasters, Troy, again at $24.95 for Series 1 and $29.95 US for Series 2, you get 1 Young Gun per blaster.
Okay. But if I bought 6 blasters, that's $180 for Series 2, and I should get 6 Young Guns, right?
Yeah. Because the Young Gun retail pack odds are 1 in 3 packs.
Gotcha.
So again, it's a 12-card pack, so 3 hits, but 1 in 3. Now, here's some other notable pack odds. So Young Guns, now, and we kind of knew this, that, listen, if you want the parallels, you got to go the hobby route.
Yes.
Young Guns Silver Outburst are 1 in 180 packs.
Whew.
Or 1 in 60 blaster boxes.
Don't buy blasters hunting those, please.
And even a Young Guns Canvas, Troy, 1 in 48 retail packs or 1 in 16 blaster boxes.
The more you talk about how the odds are kind of bad, think about this when you go into breaks. Everyone that's in breaks, and if you see retail stuff for 23, 24, know these odds so you can see.
Oh, very, very good point. So the theory is it still might be more economical to get a base Bedard Young Guns, but it's not the same pack odds that you traditionally see between retail and hobby. So I did the math here, right? So if you're thinking I don't want to pay $300 for a Series 2 hobby box, I'm gonna go the blaster route instead. You get 1 Young Gun per 3 retail packs. So there's 1 Young Guns per blaster. There's 50 Young Guns on the checklist. So on average, right, it's 1 in 150 retail packs to hit a Bedard Young Guns or 1 in 50 blasters.
Yeah.
Right. And then so that at $24.95, what is that? $1,250 US dollars. So it's less than half of what a hobby box would be on average to pull a Bedard Young Gun. So again, it might be but it is gonna be $30. So it's about $1,500.
Yeah.
On average. Where what do we factor at $300? It's about 1 in 2,500. It's about $2,500 on average. So you would save $1,000 to get your base Bedard Young Gun, but you're gonna eliminate the chance of
you get nothing else. You might get one of the other cards, but not a lot of them.
So that's the story on blasters. And then retail tins are getting a makeover too.
I'm just buying this because the tin looks cool. That looks
$60 though for so no, I thought tins were like $30.
That's a great question. I'll see if I can find some what last year tins were. I can't remember off the top of my head.
So it's saying 3 Young Guns per tin. So I mean, it is a little more economical, right? You're paying $20 per Young Gun. We're in blaster for Series 1. You're paying $25, and in Series 2, you're paying $30. So again, it's you get 9 retail packs. There's 1 Young Gun for every 3 packs. That's how you get to your oh no. So here's what's crazy about this, right? You get 8 packs in a tin, and the pack odds are still the same, 1 in 3 packs as a Young Gun. So how are they getting you get 3 Young Guns? You see what I'm saying? The math doesn't add up. I know.
I see what you're saying. I'm kind of listening.
It's like the middle of the night.
$25 was the previous Upper Deck or Series 2 tin for 22, 23. I just want to make sure I had that right. Okay.
Yeah, so you get 8 packs in a tin. You get 3 Young Guns, but the Young Guns odds are 1 in 3 packs. So it should take you 9 packs to get 3 Young Guns, but you only get 8. So does that mean that like some tins are going to get 2?
Maybe. I bet it does.
Some are going to get 3.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everything's on average, right? On average.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact wording. Um, so yeah, there's that. Oh, you do also with the tin. There's a special 3-pack Dazzlers or 3-card Dazzlers pack. So they've been doing
Okay.
like the OPG Glossy. Now they're doing Dazzlers. There's 3 variations. There's an orange, then there's a red, which is in 1 and 4 packs, and a black
Ooh,
Dazzler.
black. That could be cool.
1 and 12. So that's your new flagship retail configuration overview, I guess.
Also, I know we didn't look at this, but we've heard rumblings here and there. Those gravity boxes can sometimes get discounted pretty
Oh
well.
yeah.
So make sure, I don't know. I have no clue what the odds are for gravity boxes, but I think they're the tall ones that open up at the bottom, and they're like selling single packs.
Single
but
packs.
You can buy them as the whole gravity box, but that might be something to check out too.
Now I do have a very quick 2023-24 Series 2 hobby note. We're seeing the first expected release dates, so I'm just going to say don't take this in stone, but right now pre-sales have had like to be determined as released, and right now David Adams is showing February 28th. Now that doesn't mean it's coming out on February 28th. It's probably not, but it at least gives us like the general time frame of. So we'll see how close it is to it, and you never know until the checklist comes out, and that's usually 10 days or so before the product comes out. But just want to make that note. Okay, Troy, got to make a quick mention for Gong Show partner and sponsor PWCC. Of course, thank you to them for their continued support of our show. A reminder that the hockey cards and the PWCC weekly auctions are heating up. Before we recorded this, I did the YouTube live show with Jeremy, and the cards are awesome this week. Just tons they had like every 80s Hall of Fame star PSA 10, and these are like pop cards with like rookie cards that have less than like 30, almost all of them. It was just awesome to go through the auction. Had a great time doing the show, and once the hockey season kicked up or got back going, these weekly auctions have been just super strong. So be sure to head to pwccmarketplace.com to check out all the cards in the weekly auction. And then, too, I also want to make another reminder to check out the fixed price marketplace. There's like 5,000 hockey cards in there. Maybe it's slept on a little bit.
Yeah.
I looked in Card Ladder because you can look at sales by platform. There's like 1,500 cards in the last month that have sold out of the fixed price marketplace or the vault, and it's a lot of cards. So there's some awesome hockey cards in there. And then just like with any like fixed price marketplace, you can on a lot of cards you can send offers on and kind of negotiate with the bidders there. Last thing I'll mention about PWCC is that on Thursday, actually, the November premiere auction begins. It's always really excited to check that out and see. I mean, those are the big boy hockey cards going there, and we'll see which ones are included in November. And then just another reminder to be sure to catch our weekly collaboration with Jeremy Lee Sunday nights starting at 8:30 p.m. Central Time on Jeremy's YouTube channel, Sports Cards Live, where we look at all the key hockey cards closing in the PWCC weekly auction. It's a great time. Just love doing the show with Jeremy, and holy cow, do I learn a lot from him. Mailbag. Lots of questions, Troy. Holy smokes. So we're going to try to roll through these and hopefully give good answers. From Discord, Oil Country Collectibles. Does the discontinuation of the French parallel Young Guns increase and or put a little bit of a hold on the values of those Young Guns parallels from years past? Would it have negative effect? Do people stop searching for them as much because they are not a current parallel? That's a great question, actually. I think in the very short term, no, but I don't know, maybe 5 years down the road, yeah. And if I had like Young Guns French parallels for like key players, I might be looking to convert those into clear cuts or something like that, even though they're gonna be a lot more expensive. But what do you think on this?
I don't think it hurts the French values of those years released where it was basically you had their young, like think of the Belfour. I think you had his Young Guns and then the French was like a parallel. And I can't remember if there was another parallel or if this was just the French. I'd have to look into that. But where the French is one of only a very, low number of parallels. I think those will be okay. It's just kind of this newer ones that, or once they've added more parallels to like the high gloss exclusives, all that stuff. Where, yeah, I don't know exactly the answer, but that kind of is my thought.
Another great question from Discord JT Hockey. What do you think the EPAC price will be for 2023-24 Series 2? Oh, God.
$750.
Billy said again on the Thursday show that the new configuration of flagship was partly to cut down on cost. We talked about that already, and meet expected margins for UD. Yeah, I get when Billy says the stuff on margins, but as collectors, I don't care what their margin is. I mean, no offense to Upper Deck, but that's their. I get it. That's their concern. But yeah, assuming printing costs and whatever different inserts are in Series 2 don't increase production costs 60 to 140% to Series 1 to Series 2. Right, he's talking about like the price increase of almost $300. How is Upper Deck going to handle this situation? If they match or above market price in EPAC, like they usually are, they're clearly taking advantage of Bedard hype to rake in big profits. They undercut LCS online sellers like David Adams or local card shops. So it's. I think what he's basically asking is, if Series 2 hobby boxes are $300 at your card shop, and I think a huge thing, and I believe this from Upper Deck, because they're very sensitive to undercutting their diamond dealers and price.
Yeah.
So it's going to kind of force their hand.
Yes.
It's like, are you going to have like a $400 Series 2 hobby box? And I mean, it's just like, this is such the theater of the absurd. I just
where you don't get your base, like I mean, it could, that'll be interesting.
So it's going to be
now, get back to the allocation thing. If this happens, like this could be a whole can of worms.
But I don't know what's going to happen, JT. But I know that for a fact that they're not going to have $300 physical hobby boxes and then sell the EPAC boxes for $200. That's not
yeah,
because they're
crush dealers
freak out. Probably rightfully so. All right, next question. Discord Beard Boss. Following on episode 126. Oh God. Asking us about former shows. We talked about fake patches. I guess I'm just a naive little baby, but I didn't realize fake patch thing was so pervasive. Not to give anyone any ideas, but do you know how people actually do this? They just go and buy a Blackhawks jersey, cut it up, and somehow remove the patch that's already in the card, like a MacGyver defusing a bomb, and then glue in a piece of the jersey you bought from Fanatics. All right, Troy, you had an answer on this one?
Yeah, I think you're basically dead on. And we've seen videos where these were Panini cards, where how easy it is sometimes to get those things out of there. I don't know how easy. I've never seen an Upper Deck one, like a YouTube video where people remove. But yeah, that's basically what I think happens. And it's just to get more value out of the card. They can sell.
Are they even like glued in there? Or are they just sort of
I've seen some that were barely glued. Like, and just think the older the card, that glue is probably starting to break down. I don't know how long it takes for the glue to break down, but you can just slide it right out. Now, again, I don't know what Upper Deck uses for their patches. We've talked about this, I think Beardbox are right on how they do it, why they do it. They get more value. And it's definitely one of those things where I kind of wish to myself, ignorance is bliss, but I'm glad I know about it. But it's definitely made me hesitant on purchasing patch cards for sure.
Oh, we'll get to that in personal pickups because I have a note on that there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I wish Upper Deck would do is just glue the crap out of those like with super glue, so that literally the only way to move the original patch would be you'd have to take the whole back of the card with it.
Yeah.
And you'd wreck the card in order to swap it.
And we've also heard like with special ink, maybe that would burst or something to ruin the card, basically, if you try to rip it out.
All right, next question. Instagram, Hagerstrom. Does it seem like Upper Deck upped their game on the picture selection quality for Series 1? It looks like some photos were chosen because they'd be amazing with the outburst, like Maddie Beniers.
Yeah. So I definitely, that has to be part of the decision. Like the photo they used is because of how it's going to look. And I actually think last year's flagship had amazing pictures last fall. I think last year's was like a turn, right? Was it 2 years ago
I think last year, definitely the goalies.
they felt like they really upped their game on photos the past, like I'll say 2 years. And it's one of the best things about Flagship right now. I love ripping it and just looking at the pictures and taking my sweet time because the photos are really, really nice.
Did you see the Beniers outburst? How awesome the photo is.
I don't think so.
Oh, everyone go look it up at some point, and you'll totally get what Hagerstrom is saying. All right, next question from YouTube, Chuck Mander. Hello, Josh and Troy. Hey, Chuck Mander. Quick question for you: with the release of the new NHL statistics portal, did you know this?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh. I noticed some names at the top of statistical categories that historically don't get the hobby love. Do you see this changing or positively impacting these players, or maybe even reinforcing current hobby stars' values? Right, Troy.
So right now with how new it is, I don't think it does much. If anything, it probably helps reinforce rather than make someone break out as a hobby star. And the reason being, I don't think a lot of people actually know about the new site. I don't think the release was done very well, but it's edge.nhl.com. And now they're making some data points that they didn't make public knowledge, or they're putting it in this database, and they're looking at things like shot speed, shot location, skating speed, skating distance, and zone time. And I personally love it. This is something the NHL has promised. I want to say 5 to 10 years ago is when they said, oh, it's coming. We're going to have this stats database. It's going to have all this great stuff. And now we're starting to see it. I will still harp on the NHL. They have a statistical database that has almost every data point you could ever want. It's publicly accessible, but they don't provide any documentation on how to access it. So you need basically some kind of API documentation. Some people have figured it out, but it's still a patchwork of how to get this data. So I want that first. I want that to be user friendly. But back to the question, I don't think it does much right now, but people, once they start finding out about it, I think it could help confirm thoughts on a player. But some of them, I don't know how skating speed or skating distance to me is not going to really translate to a hobby person or a hobby player and their values. But there's definitely stuff like one of the things Dom Lucian from The Athletic was talking about with goalies. I know the NHL knows this on every shot, how much of the net the goalie is actually taking up. That to me is absolutely fascinating. Are they taking up 70% of the net, 60% of the net? I think stuff like that could be very cool and maybe help a little bit on hobby stuff. But again, the more data intensive you get, you lose people automatically.
Yeah. Okay, Instagram, T-Diz Cards. With Pinto's suspension, will that help or hurt his card values? I just said I can't see how it helps in the short term, but if you believe in the kid, you're going to get some you just said like Young Guns PSA or Young Guns Canvas PSA 10, $14.
Yep. Dead on. Doesn't hurt, but if you like him and you think you can get passes, now's probably a good time to look at buying. Do your research.
All right, next question. Instagram collector quadruple zero. It's a great question. Why can we find Future Watch non-auto cards 1 year and the next year there's an autoed version? Example, Carter Verhaeghe. So this happens when an athlete does not return the signed copies of their cards to Upper Deck before the deadline date for pack out, where they need to produce the product and ship it out. And so what Upper Deck will do in that case is choose to put unsigned cards in as like unsigned Future Watches in the set. And then like in the case of Carter Verhaeghe, the next year they'll include the signed Future Watch autos as an update card. So you'll see in almost every release they have update cards, and some for multiple years. So in 2021 SB Authentic, if you go look at the checklist, you'll see the 2019 Verhaeghe Future Watch auto on the checklist as an update. Now, what can get a little confusing about this is the back of the card will say 2019. And so it doesn't really give you that indication that it was actually in the 2020 set as an update.
Yeah.
You just have to, when in doubt, kind of check out the next year's checklist. I would say. Next question, Instagram Caribou Collectibles. Are Eklund and Bordelot the highest Sharks sellers? Well, they're both top 5 Sharks prospects and the only of the top 5 with NHL cards. So, yeah. They're probably your best chases to right now. was curious. And to date, Bordelot has 900 cards that have sold in the secondary market per card ladder. Top sale being 191 USD for 2022-23 artifacts, rookie patch auto. So not a big chase for Bordelot. Eklund, we know, has had more hobby steam for the last couple of years. He's finally getting his chance to play this year. He has 3,030 cards that have sold to date in secondary markets, 840 US for a 2021 Young Guns Clear Cut Exclusives PSA 10 is his highest sale. But I think is a Will Smith is probably their best prospect, and he's still in college right now on the East Coast, I believe. Next question, Instagram, Clayton Keller Young Gun. Is Clayton Keller a good guy to invest in? How about Cooley? With Bedard getting all the hype, will Cooley slide under the radar? Well, given your name is Clayton Keller Young Gun, is this a biased question, Troy? You think? So I've actually had a keen interest in Keller.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys I bought this summer, and honestly, it's kind of a tough one. I mean, you look at like the pros and cons. He's still young at 26. He's coming off his best year. He had 37 goals, so almost that magic 40 goal mark, 86 points. Off to a great start this year, 4 goals, 4 assists for 8 points in 8 games. The issue is the market.
Yep.
And just the general collector base, and he doesn't get a big spotlight playing in Arizona. Not like if you're, you put his production in the Maple Leafs, and he's got like Mitch Marner hobby steam, right? So what I think in the case when we look at these guys in a market like Arizona, they have to do something to overcome that. And so I don't know if it's like 40 to 50 goals a year for the next few years, or it doesn't even work for Mikko Rantanen. So I don't know, but Keller's good, and he's a really good player. I just don't know. And I'm a guy who bought a few of his RPAs this year, so kind of bet it's more of a gamble, I guess, for my. And then Cooley is really one of the top. I think Series 2 is going to be loaded. There's really 4 primo prospects.
Yeah.
Of course, you have Connor Bedard, you have Logan Cooley, then you have Leo Carlson and Adam Fantilli. Cooley's got a real flash to his game. He is sort of made for the Instagram highlight reel.
Yep.
Sort of what drives a lot, the kids. That's how they see hockey today. But to some extent, I'm sure all 3 of those guys between Carlson, Fantilli, and Cooley will be a little bit under the radar, at least initially, with all the focus on Bedard.
If Cooley doesn't score any goals, he'll definitely be under the radar. You got 0 right now.
Yikes. Next question, Instagram, Coastal Collection 29. This is one of those ones that makes you really think. Your favorite inserts or parallels from each of the last 4 decades. So here's the thing that really threw me off. I'm like, my initial reaction to 4 decades was there was no inserts in the 70s, and then Nikes. 4 decades ago is the 90s.
Yeah, you realize how old you are, and then you just got depressed. Not to bring us down, but the whole news of Matthew Perry passing away, that really hit, because that's obviously I'm that generation that watched Friends. I loved Friends as a college kid. We used to watch all the time as a team and stuff. It was just hilarious. But that's one of those things that hits, and you're like, oh my God, I'm getting old. Just like this question.
Yeah, so he wants to know our favorite inserts or parallels from each of the last 4 decades, the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, or 2020s. So you can go first, Troy.
So I said 90s. I really like the Pinnacle Mask or the Padmans. I think those are awesome. They're goalie cards, so I'm all for them. 2000s are I don't know if you've seen those. Have you seen the Lost Rookies set?
No.
It's it's really cool. Look it up. They do, because Mario Lemieux actually played in 84, 85 would have been when he was a rookie, but his rookie card's 85, 86. So they actually went back and made cards. I dig those. The Tops did cards that never were or should have been or something like that. That I always love those. 2010s, I liked Masked Men. And 2020s, I have 16-bit.
Gotcha. So for the 90s, I went Jambalaya because that's when they debuted. One of my favorite cards. The 2000s, I'm blanking. I mean, I don't think that the 2000s were really known for inserts. I think that was kind of where the RPAs kind of got, and patch autos sort of gained prominence. But I got nothing.
Well, if I didn't own a Pinnacle Mask or Padman cards, I'd have been either had to go search or just be I don't know off the top of my head.
Then 2010s, I got to go with Glow Peachy, one of my favorites. Yeah, and then we were right on 16-bit.
Yeah, I love 16-bit.
All right, Instagram, JB Hockey Cards. Between Jack, Luke, or Quinn, do I try to complete the trifecta of all 3 Young Guns or only collect Jack? I know he's got the most value of all 3 of them. It'd be fun to do like a rainbow of the brothers, or actually, would you call like a family tree? You're exactly right. If you want longer term value, then Jack is the way to go.
Yeah.
But if you want to just do something cool, then get the brothers. But yeah, that's the way I would go.
I want to know what happened to the other one. What happened to unofficial brother Jack Quinn? Let's get him in there too.
Disrespect.
That'd be such an inside joke if you collected all those and put them up on your wall. That make me feel special.
Beat that into the ground last hard. Instagram, Bruin Bill 8. What does the hobby world think of oddball cards like the 2019 Jack Hughes or Cale Makar Golden Treasure Autos E-Pack achievements? So I think what he's talking about is like cards like that are bounty rewards or E-Pack that are like super rare, really exclusive, but nobody ever really sees or knows about. And I think like from like a long-term value perspective, if that's where you're going at, Bruin, they're tougher because part of something that has value it has to be known. It's like, why do Rolexes have a ton of value? Because they're so recognizable and everyone understands that they're valuable, right?
Yeah.
That's just a part of it. And so there's a lot of kind of oddball cards out there that just don't have that same recognition. And so while they might be really cool, they could be harder to move, especially at big prices down the road. Next question, Instagram, the Trainers Lounge. What are your top 5 cup cards all time? Another one that makes you like really think. Okay, so I think you and I went different tracks here, but
I did. I apologize to this user. I'll go first. I can't name off the top of my head. I said any Pecorine card is in my top 5, and I probably have 5 of them from the cup. So those 5 are my favorites.
So you went with like specific cards, which I mean, there's lots of ways to interpret questions.
Yeah,
I went with more like the subsets, and so limited logos is by far my favorite. Then
okay, agree. Yep, agree.
Exquisite RPAs out of the player's jersey number, then probably true RPAs. I like honorable numbers, and then shield autos are pretty awesome too.
Yeah, I could get. I'm not the exquisite RPA guy. You're more exquisite than I am. I'm not a big. They're fine. I just don't chase them or anything.
Next question, Instagram Embron. Was wondering if you guys got anything interesting out of the 2023-24 UD Timmy packs I sent you. So this was the one.
Oh, yes.
Now, God, even how do we say this? People have been sending us stuff like crazy, and we are massively appreciative.
Yes.
We don't require it. We're not like trying to pander for it, but it's awesome. And we got a card and the Timmy's packs. So you took the card, right? And then I took the Timmy's packs, and I opened the Timmy's packs because I have them right here. Bron, we didn't get anything like crazy rare, but Upper Deck has just been doing a phenomenal job on base cards.
Yeah,
it's like the base cards for Allure were awesome. The Timmy's base cards are here. Troy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're kind of like shiny. And
so is that where this one came from? Is this one? Is that this one?
That was from somebody else.
Okay, sorry.
Didn't get anything rare. Probably the coolest thing we got, Bron, was, or that I got because where is it? Oh, it's I just like it's the Jack Hughes. That's the one, the Kaprizov you got. What is it?
Yeah.
What's the name of the card, Troy? Superstar Showcase.
Yep, Superstar Showcase.
Yeah. So thank you again. Love opening Timmy's. Cannot wait to go to the expo and drink like go into like cardiac arrest because I have so much coffee.
Yeah, the minute we cross the border and V-lining to the nearest Timmy's or nearest Tim Hortons.
I always love when it's freaking Polly asks questions, Troy, because they're they stretch the limits. And if you're to come across a grail card of your favorite PC guy and you've never seen it sold before, do you really need a second kidney? Please say no, because my wife is listening and I want to buy a dry settle card. Well, so forget the kidney, Troy. We have another female listener. If his wife is listening, that could probably 3 now, right? Your mom, my mom, and Polly's wife. I don't know about kidneys, but one of the things I've seen you, Troy, do a lot and all the time is recommend people when they want big cards to take out reverse mortgages on their
Yep,
parents' houses
exactly.
without telling them, and that's a great way to get a lot of great cards. So you're very giving in that way.
I am. Great advice by me. Do reverse mortgages. Don't do that. It's a joke. And I said, and then when I was thinking about this, I was like, I get the struggle. The struggle's real. Just I'll bring it back to reality. Never put your physical health or your financial health in jeopardy for a hockey card. But I get it. I totally get it. Sell that kidney. Just kidding.
We thought you loved the hobby.
I know.
Did we already answer this? Instagram Danny McCallum 196. Maybe do you think Pinto's card values will be affected by the suspension?
Might have been the second question. Same thing.
Okay. What I don't think is going to happen is like when Cole Caulfield defied reality and got hurt and his card values went up.
Yeah.
They're going to be pretty cheap.
Yeah.
But when he signs and comes back, if he plays well, he'll be fine.
Yep.
Instagram, I got the urge. Why doesn't Upper Deck make more numbered inserts? Example are like Dazzlers and ED Canvas. Is it due to cost? Would this be a way to increase the value of common inserts? I think cost does factor in a little bit of it. But I also wonder if it's comes down to like, to some degree, I think there's a delicate balance of having the right amount of number cards. If there's too many number cards, then they don't feel as special or exciting. So maybe that factors a little bit into. What do you think?
I think so. I think cost is definitely part of it, but we've seen them move from stamping the number in to just the sticker of the number as a way to save cost. And I still think it's cool. Sometimes you get inserts that are short printed. They might release some number that you can figure out, but it's not actually numbered. So I think that's kind of it. Cool. It's a balancing act. If I don't know if you want to get in the discussion about the junk wax number, if they start numbering every insert, you might run into a problem. It's a balancing act, and they're just always trying to figure out the right balance between that.
Next question from Instagram Braun. Wondering if you have any updates or have any other information on the Upper Deck Series 1 population count 101 issue, where multiples of the same 101 cards are coming to light. Is this something you can reach out to Upper Deck for comment or explanation? What kind of action, if any, do you think Upper Deck is going to take? It would be nice if they would at least issue a statement or some sort of thing like explanation of what would happen. I understand mistakes happen with manufacturers, but when it comes to 101s, it's a pretty serious issue. And now how can we as collectors have faith that other Upper Deck product 101s are truly one card printed out there? It's a great question. I think it's a very fair question. Ron, and this is not just you in this case, and we did ask Upper Deck, but we get asked by a lot of people to ask Upper Deck questions, and I'm becoming more and more hesitant to do that because I'm not really sure how often we should. And I don't think they want to hear from us every day.
Well, you got to remember too, like our contacts sometimes they're not involved with some of the decisions.
Yeah, they're not working that stuff too.
That people want answers to. So it's kind of a balancing act. But like you said, you can say what Upper Deck told us.
Yeah, so I reached out to them. They don't have anything to announce yet, but I got the sense that they're working on some sort of response to the issue, and I'm going to be really interested, like you, to see what they come up with. What do you think they should do, Troy?
I think, well, first I haven't seen any really, have you seen an official acknowledgement?
And I think that's a little bit of a mistake. I think you acknowledge it right away, even if you don't have a resolution, because
that's where
the more time that
Fanatics
goes on, the more angsty people get.
Yeah, Fanatics killed it, I think, on those where they had the multiple, what was it, 101s too? They had some issues with 101s. They printed off multiples of people, and then they did that bounty program where they paid a ridiculous amount of money to get them back and stuff like that. I just wish I'd have an official announcement on what, like, did it happen? Maybe they're still researching. They could still be investigating because, again, they probably have to go back to the printer, which we know is in Italy, and figure out what happened. But yeah, I wish they would acknowledge. And if there are if it truly is multiple 101s, I think you got to offer some kind of ridiculous bounty to get them back.
Yeah, you got to do something. I mean, Fanatics has a lot more money, I'm sure, than Upper Deck, and so they.
Yeah, I'm not saying 75,000 or whatever Fanatics was throwing out there, but
you got to do something cool. I think if it's not money, it's something out of the ordinary and make these people feel really special and communicate that you take it seriously. So I agree with that. Twitter or X, Sebastian Engelhardt. Always love Sebastian's questions. Everyone is pretty much in agreement that the hockey Mount Rushmore is Gretzky, Mario, or and how. Oh, that's a great question. If you had to pick the secondary Mount Rushmore, who would your 4 be? Okay, Troy, you go first.
This pains me to say the first one. I'd go Crosby,
Yeah, wow.
Richard, Messier, Hasek. But I really wanted to put Ken Dryden on there, but he just didn't play long enough. But I keep learning or reading more about him. I know he had a stacked team. Let's be honest. The Canadians were stacked. But what he did in that, I think 9 seasons is insane. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So I went Yager, Rocket Richard, Patrick Waugh, and Ovi. But I really the Ovi and Crosby thing, it's like, how do you include one but not the other?
True.
That was kind of hard, but
so I would remove I can live with obviously Richard and Raw. Remove Yager, put Crosby. I think Yager's just I know he's a great player, but the longevity just helps him a lot. But that's part of it. Maybe that's why he should be on Mount Rushmore. He's still playing, just playing. He started another professional career over in Czechoslovakia. And the traveling Yagers, they either went to see him or they're going to see him again. If you don't know who they are, long time ago, we talked about them on an episode.
His hair don't quit.
Hair don't quit.
Facebook, Stephen Albert. What is your favorite card in your collection? And please show it. All right, Troy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I will go first. Did I bring up? Oh, here we go. Oh, so I'm assuming Stephen Albert, you're on YouTube. So I will show mine. Mine is a 1983 OPG Pelly Lindbergh rookie. I've mentioned this 100 times. It's a PSA 9. I love this card. It's my absolute favorite hockey card ever. One of my favorite players ever, favorite goalie ever. To me, this is just, it's so iconic. It's just, this is a goalie from the 80s. This is perfect. It's a perfect card to me.
I know mine is, so I'm not judging you, but I think your delirium is showing at 1A roughly, or approaching 1A here, because you're like, are you on YouTube? It'd be pretty impressive if you could show your card to somebody on Spotify.
I will now spend the next 30 minutes audibly detailing this card. Everyone, please listen. It starts with the top left. No, I'm just kidding.
Mine is my 1999 Topps Premium Plus, Mario Lemieux. In my secondary Mount Rushmore, Jaromir Jagr, even though Fred disagrees with it, dual auto. It's, I think, their first dual auto card. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome.
Next question. Instagram, Dalton Diamond 1995. History and significance of UD high gloss cards, both Young Guns and base parallels. Well, Dalton, the significance is that until, I guess, the new Series 1 that just came out, these traditionally have been the lowest numbered or most scared Young Guns or flagship base cards, as they're out of 10. So if you're a Young Guns collector and you want to collect like McDavid or Ovechkin or Crosby, etc., Young Guns, the most rare is going to be their high gloss. And that's what makes them incredibly significant. I couldn't do there's no great way to easily find out when they debuted, but I did do some sales report searches, and the earliest sales or release year sales I could find was from 2003. So, and I'm pretty sure that 2003 was the first year of the high gloss. So that would have been what the big card would be, Marc-Andre Fleury, probably, right? Something like that. Next question, Instagram, Shy Drafter. What is the best resource for somebody newer to the hockey hobby to learn about the best cards or what to buy? Great question.
Did you send this? Is this you? Are you Shy Drafter? Is this you?
I'm going to plug our show. Well, I mean, it kind of makes it sound like an egomaniac, but I really hope our show is part of the answer, because it's kind of the reason we started it, right, in the first place. So hopefully you learn a little bit of stuff through the work that we do here. If I were to recommend specifically anything we do, it'd be our Hockey Cards 101 series. You can find on hockeycardsgongshow.com, our website. But beyond our shameless plug and for ourselves, I guess, it's tough. I mean, that's, again, part of why we started the show. There's not it's a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
To get in, and we're still learning, and we've been doing this a lot for a year and a half now. And so I'm thinking about that. I'm like, well, if you don't like us, what would you do? And my best advice would be to make friends, maybe online, with people in the hobby and ask them questions, or go to your local card shop and introduce yourself and just be humble. And probably the biggest thing is, and this is totally what I don't do. I'm actually the worst at this. Is learn first and then buy, and you'll do
Yeah.
great. If you buy first and then learn, which is me being the idiot I am, that's kind of what I typically do. Then
Yep.
you eat crow a lot.
I would.
What would you add to that?
Yeah, I'd add. And this might not work if they don't like you or us, but try to watch the Sunday show Josh does with Jeremy, because they'll go over cards in the PWCC auction, and Jeremy and Josh will give like almost a little history lesson on some of them, so you can learn about significance of certain cards, and then that might go off into significance of the set that it was in. So you actually can learn a little bit about the history from there. Also, I would Google search, and maybe if you do like site cardboardconnection.com, I know they have articles out there on maybe top 10 significant hockey cards, and you can find stuff like that. But yeah, I think Google the Jeremy and Josh show on Sunday, and then our Hockey Cards 101 series would be a great start. There's a lot more information out there. There's a lot of other blogs, a lot of stuff's written out there.
Yeah, you can just mute me when I say stupid stuff and learn from Jeremy. But like, if you want to learn more about the cup, our guy Mitch Grotman is the cup expert, has a Facebook group and
Instagram too that he does. It's awesome.
So nice in this hobby that as long as you're like respectful, I think they'll answer just about any question you have. Next question, Instagram, Slewfoot Vintage Hockey. Another great question. What's the best product to get into for someone, or best new product to get into for someone who collects 99% vintage? So it seems kind of obvious, but if you can find SP Signature Edition Legends, that's probably
this was the quickest I ever answered a question. This was literally 0.1 seconds from finishing this question to putting it down on my answer.
And then, like, there's the upcoming Parker's Champions that we'll have.
Maybe.
Yeah. I was supposed to be out in June. But it has like the 1951 Parker's design, but with modern players. We'll have like Wayne Gretzky and some other legends. And then there are sets like that you'd probably have to research a little bit, but the cup has a lot of legends in it. And
SP Authentic with Sign of the Times.
SP Authentic. I think no, maybe not Artifacts. But there's certain products that really don't, like OPG Platinum, you won't find. Well, with the exception of like a couple years where they did like Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Orr, typically they haven't done that. And I think if I'm recalling back to our conversation with Grant Sandground, one of the things he said is that I think they're working to have clearer delineations between that. Like, because the whole idea, we can't have Wayne Gretzky autos in literally every set we do. So that these are the sets that will kind of feature legend players.
And when Josh mentioned SP Signature Edition Legends, what year is that officially? Is it a 2021 product?
No, it's 20. I don't think it officially has a year.
Okay.
Because it's a one-off product.
Gotcha.
But it is 2020.
Okay.
Next question, Instagram, VD Cards. Overreaction, under the radar, buy low, players sell now. That's like 45 questions in one. So Troy and I are both like, now's the time to sell Jack Hughes.
Yeah, I would sell Hughes.
It's gonna. I'm sure there's part of you that thinks, well, what if he goes up more? That's the way our brains work.
Yep.
But he probably will never be as hot as he is right now. But maybe, I guess I shouldn't say. I don't want to make a declarative statement around that. But if history gives us lessons, now would be a good time to take the win. I guess that's the way to put it, right? Is that, it could go up a little bit more, but if you bought a Jack Hughes for $100 and it's worth $400, and you're going to make 400% or whatever that is, that's a win. And my advice would be to take it. And then under the radar guys, I would put like Stützle, Matthew Tkachuk, Tage Thompson, J. Rob. They all seem to be pretty good values. Clayton Keller we talked about. So yeah.
Would you say Connor Bedard CHL cards are an overreaction?
Yes. It's a great one.
Yeah, that's what popped in my head. I'm sorry, I didn't do enough research on this one. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Alex the Brincat. Just kidding.
All right, last question. Instagram, Top Shelf Cookie Sniper 88. Another good question. With the expo coming up, what are you both looking for? Also, could you review how people can get those expo packs with box purchases? So I tend to go to these, Jay, with an open mind. So I'm just going to bring a bunch of cards that I might be willing to trade, bring some money, and then really I kind of know what I like and just look for deals or opportunities. I'm not the type that's like I want to get like a Wayne Gretzky OPG rookie PSA 7, and some people do that. That's just not
Yeah.
how my personality works, I guess. And then I'll answer the promo pack thing, and then let you answer kind of what you're looking for, Troy. So the promo packs, you get them when you buy certain boxes that qualify for them, and there'll be a list at the Upper Deck booth of which boxes qualify from certified diamond dealers tables. Now I can't guarantee it'll be the same, but they've traditionally had a gold balloon at each one of them. So you go and you buy, like, if you're Series 1 box, I'm sure will qualify. You buy the box from the dealer that has the balloon, meaning they're a certified diamond dealer. They hand you a voucher. You take the voucher back to the Upper Deck booth. That you take the box, and Upper Deck actually cuts
Yep.
the plastic wrapping so that you don't redeem a box more than once for a pack. And then you get your now some boxes, like I don't know if it's all 1-to-1 if you buy like a box of the cup or something like that, if you get multiple
Yes,
packs.
and cases are usually involved too. You can buy
Yeah,
cases.
you get and then there'll be drawings for cards and stuff like that. So that's how you
Yeah.
do it. But what are you looking for specifically at the
So
show?
when I go in, I'm looking to where to rent a U-Haul so I can get my wax deals and make sure I get all those home. Second, I go in with I want to find my PC guys, so I'll be on the hunt for Pekka Renes, Bossies, any Pelly Lindberghs, all those guys that I've talked about. I always go look for. But then I just really stare. I'm getting better at this and just hover and see if anything really jumps out. I know and actually I like to go to Jeremy's booth because he always has really nice cards that I look at. And I think if I remember right, I can't remember if Mitch Grotman, who we talked about for the cup, was going to set up at Toronto, because I saw him at Burbank. He had some really nice cards too. But if he's not, then that kind of goes off the list. But you just take your time, have what you're looking for, but then don't keep an open mind, and you'll find stuff you want. And again, we haven't said this enough. It is hockey card mecca. What, 80%, 90% is hockey cards. It's insanity. It's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Troy. Personal pickups. It's our
All right.
tradition. You always start first. You've been very busy. But
got some.
you have a report.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned this, but we got some very cool items from some listeners, which again, like Josh said, blows my mind, blows our mind. We are so appreciative. I'm not going to say names because I never asked if I could say their names that they sent me stuff. So I apologize if you wanted your name read off. I'm sorry. However, really appreciate it. And again, I'm going to put this disclaimer out there. No one has to ever send us anything. You do not have to send us a thing. If you listen or watch our show, that's more than enough. And if you feel inclined, you can always join the Patreon if that's something you want to do. However, very appreciative, and I love the stuff that we do get sent. So I got first a couple cool magnets. I'm going to kind of show them up for the YouTube people. It's a Wayne Gretzky rookie card, but it's a magnet. It's awesome looking. And then also, funny, I was mentioning this guy earlier, a little Ken Dryden magnet. Got his awesome mask. Yeah, it's sweet. Super sweet. Got his Canadiens jersey on. And then and this one, I don't even know what to say. This is absolutely amazing. It's a 2013-14 OPG Retro Pekka Rinne with the autograph authenticated. This is absolutely fantastic. Cool, it's absolutely awesome. It's going from the show. I'm opening it out of the plastic and putting it right into my Pekka display case. So this is, I'm speechless. This is just amazing. I love this. You could
put that right next to the restraining order that Pekka took.
He has against me. I live in Sweden now, or Finland. I think he moved back. He does stuff with the Predators. And then I kind of showed this one earlier. Is Kaprizov from Timmy's. Is awesome.
Love Timmy's.
So thank you again. I'm so appreciative.
So I was going to have a big fat nothing, and I'd been working on some deals, and my report was going to be I'm working on some bigger trades, and they just haven't materialized, and then boom, one happened. So I think it's like the second biggest trade I ever did. And so I should, I guess, explain first. a lot of the moves I've been making over the last couple of months is I've been looking at cards that I want in my long-term PC, and then
Mhm.
other cards that I'm confident I can use as uh, uh well, what's the word? Like bargaining chip, like cards
Trade
that I
bait?
know trade bait, cards that I know that other people would want.
Yeah.
And so I two of the cards that I specifically acquired to do that I used in this trade. And so I'm really excited. The first card I got is a 2014 15 the Cup, Pavel Datsuk, limited logos out of 50,
That's
which
awesome.
has a really, really nice patch. Now this is where I'll go into, we were talking about like the fake patch thing.
Yeah.
I was and I'm a dummy. I was gonna actually send this to Mitch and be like, "Is this patch real?" So I'm just praying that I didn't acquire. Not that it would have anything to, the person I traded with wouldn't know, but it's like it goes back to the whole fake patch thing. You see a really really nice patch, and it makes you skeptical
Yeah.
at some point. But really really like I've never had a limited logos card, and so I'm very very happy to get it. And then the other card that so this was kind of like the main trade thing, but then to make the money work, got a 2021 reasonably centered. It looks like, which is kind of amazing. Cole Caulfield, retro rookie. I've always loved the
Yeah.
retros and OPT Platinum.
Yeah.
And so this is
It's
numbered on a 199. It's a blue rainbow, and I know now you're very critical
I'm
of
still
Cole
curious. Why
Caulfield.
is he always hunched over? He's always hunched over. Like, just this one looks great though. It's not the side view ones are the ones I just boggles my mind how that picture made it.
Even though you went to Wisconsin, get over that too.
Yeah.
And so then the downside, Troy, of trading for really nice cards is you typically have to give up really nice cards. And I definitely had to do that here. But again, I acquired these knowing that I would be moving on from them in order to
Hmm.
get like a limited logos Datsuk like I wanted. So for a long time, or for a year and a half, I've had a 2019 OPG Platinum Nick Suzuki Seismic Gold rookie out of 50. That's like super nice. And a lot of people have been interested on it. I did this on my card post too, which I should mention because my card post is awesome for trading and get trade requests almost every day on it. But I've been waiting for that
Hmm.
card I really want. And then I also had a 2021 Premier Pasternak Mega Patch chest logo out of 2022. So I had to give those two up. But again, I can't say enough about how awesome my card post is for trading. Like I end up going back and forth a little bit with the seller. Like they can see your all the cards you're willing to part with that you upload to your collection. So they just say, "Oh, you propose these cards. Well, I'm more interested in these other two cards you have," and then you kind of just go back and forth. And like you mentioned in our conversation with Mark last week, that it's their user interface that's so easy to
Yeah.
use. It just makes it really really seamless. And then they have a chat feature, so we were able to chat. And it ended up that I was actually a listener who I did the trade with, so that was kind of cool to find out. And um, yeah, it was just uh, the whole experience was awesome, and give my card post a lot of credit. And then we don't mention this enough, but we have a promo code.
Yep.
So if you want to try my card post, Gongshow 30, GONGSHOW 30, you save 30% off your first 3 months. So like you could try the small plan, and with the discount, it's $6 a month for 3 months. It's a cup of coffee a month.
Yeah. We forgot to mention our pucks.
Oh yeah,
We got puck sent
on
to us.
hockey. US
On
Pond
hockey.
Hockey Champ. Pretty awesome. All right, Troy, we did it. It's
Yeah.
is it Wednesday? Is it what day is it? I know it's very, 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 very late. Um, but we're still awake, so that's a good thing. Well, if you like the episode, please leave a rating review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you might be listening to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to chat with us every day on the Hockey Cards Gong Show Discord server, heck, sometimes in the middle of the night, like tonight, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, for a link to Patreon. You go to Patreon website, patreon.com, search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description if you're listening to us on Spotify and you're trying to see what Troy's showing you for some reason. Or if you are watching us on YouTube, where it's very easy, much easier to show you our favorite cards. There's a link in the description there. Or you can, if you want to go to our TikTok and link to Patreon that way, or Instagram, it's in our profile there too. Well, we're on social media. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures, LLC. Have an awesome start to your week. We'll chat with you on Thursday.